everyone, welcome back. I sincerely hope we are live. Before we start, I know exactly what you're thinking. And let me just put some context right here. 50% of the audience that watches this channel, roughly, is from India, and 50% audience that watches this channel is not from India. This is an enlightening fact that will help you understand this stream a little bit better. I'm sincerely hoping for those of you who watch from India, this is what happens after a good day of Holi. For those of you who are not from India or not aware of what Holi is, this is what happens after a good day of Holi. No, I have not gone mad. No, I have not taken up the religion of face painting. Yes, I will appear purple during this stream, and absolutely you have to get used to it. With those complicated facts aside, today I want to talk about something super duper special, something super duper amazing. We finally have 50 different color palettes that we're launching. These are the most appealing color palettes with the highest level of contrast standards, with the highest level of real world standards, with the highest level of applicability. They're not used right now as often as I think they will be, which is what makes them amazing. As soon as you open them, you obviously see every single color that we're talking about today is amazing. Every single one of these palettes can have a whole SaaS or a heavyweight project built about itself, which is why this is my favorite collection of the 50 color palettes I'm launching this Holi that the pros don't want you to find out. You only see these colors used often when you have professionals and just people who've really reached a certain level in the field of UI UX design use them, which is why I'm so happy to be revealing them today. And the way you discover these assets is from either the link in the live chat or the link in the description. Just simply go to veerasrivastav.com. Yes, we finally updated the site to match this channel instead of just a personal portfolio. And yes, it does have so many cool assets for you to find. Just sign up here for the 50 free color palettes. I'm just going to enter my email ID just to demonstrate what happens. Yes, this is completely for free. You get the free 50 color palettes only pro designers use as of 2025 with 50 unique and rare color combinations and how to use them for modern high impact designs. There is a live chat and real-time feedback on palettes. Every single design that you make using these palettes, and tag me on Twitter and also YouTube, Instagram, wherever you are. I will reply to them with real-time feedback. And at the very end of it all, we have 5 surprise bonus palettes at the end, which also I'm super duper happy for you to find out. So this is going to be an amazing stream. Let's see the palettes that we have today. And we're also going to talk about what you find with the palettes, how you actually start to implement them. We're going to take 5 of these color palettes, just 5 random ones, and try to break them down into a very real world use case. So with that said, now we have our palettes file downloaded. When you just download this file once, you'll only see the number 0 over here or not see a number at all. I've just downloaded this a bunch of times, which is why it's saying palette 6 on my device. But with that said, let's just jump in. So as soon as you have a file or folder called palettes downloaded into your device from veerasrivastava.com, SRIVASTAVA, you're going to go over to your Windows Explorer or whichever file explorer you're currently on, go to your downloads folder and get your palettes file. You can either import it directly into Figma, and that's just going to import it within a second, or you can just click on the import button right over here and import your file. To the people who've just joined us, a very happy Holi to you. Today we're launching the 50 best color palettes that are going to take over the industry in 2025, which is why I'm so happy to launch this today. If you think I've gone mad, if you're not aware of the whole Holi tradition, Google it. It's the best festival in the world. I will go to heaven debating that, but it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So I'm not taking that as a debatable topic. With that said, we're going to move this into a project, and you can use it to move it into drafts, but other than that, it's just fine. This is the new file that we've just gotten, and you can obviously access all of these color palettes completely for free. So I just highly recommend doing that. with that said, let's see what we have in these color palettes. Obviously, you have all of your color palettes over here. Can I just take a moment to say these are the best color combinations I've seen anywhere. So you have a bunch of these different color palettes and Figma files, and there is a heavy competition in the field of color palettes and templates in Figma as a whole. But I feel like today, the thing that we've launched today really has a lot of power, because this not only is coming from experience, it's also following all of the different contrast standards, all of the different color standards, and all of the different innovation standards that are going to take over the industry in 2025. With that said, let's begin. So I have today planned for us 5 different color palettes that we've taken from right here, and we're going to design 5 different UIs just to demonstrate how easy it becomes to go from the point of taking this color palette to getting to your own very first UI, to making things that are simple on portfolio wise, or to making things that are complicated and just really, really nice to show off. So I feel like this is going to be the perfect live stream for you. With that said, we also have the Easter eggs on these palettes. These are definitely wonky, not conventional at all. Vampire on steroids is the only normal color palette available over here, but I promise you, to anyone who's watching and uses these in your very own design, sends these over to me on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, wherever, I promise there's a surprise for you. So this is the Easter eggs, the extra 5 color palettes along with the 50 good ones. But I promise you, these are here on purpose, and they're not going away anywhere soon. With that said, let's get into the stuff that we've planned for today. I'm just going to rename this file to palettes 0 because I've just downloaded this file right now, and since I've been downloading this file since morning, because this is the best color palette file available in the world right now, I've downloaded it a bunch of times, and I recommend you do it as well. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, can you see all of these magical palettes? Again, I'm in love with the way these are. Like, all of these are perfect. Like, I could choose anyone to get started, but since we have a limited number of time on the stream, we're going to get started with the first one over here. The first color palette that I'm really, really excited to showcase in a real life example is Modern Robot. Let's begin. So I feel like this is going to be a really, really fun introduction into using your own color palettes. We often have all of these sites like coolers.com or any other fancy sites, and it becomes really difficult from your point of view to be able to effectively use them and to use them in a way which actually makes sense. So we're just going to break that topic down, and we're going to do our best to give that a shot mentally. Click on plus, create a new design file. Once that is done, now we're going to add our color palette over here. This is Modern Robot, one of the first and one of the most prettiest modern, simplistic, business formal type color palettes that we have on the 50 awesome color palettes for today. And we're going to design the whole process of building a modern UI like this, and we're going to talk about what colors you should use, what colors you could use, what colors you shouldn't use, and the level of seriousness and strictness that you do need while following these tutorials. So I feel like this is going to be the perfect guide to guide you how to use a real world color palette. Let's get started. So I'm just going to click over here, create a new design file, and I'm just going to go over to my palettes, copy the first color palette, Modern Robot, paste it over here, and with that we're going to get started. Say hi in the chat if you're just joining us live. Say happy Holi in the chat, because this is the day. Alright, with that done, we're going to go over here and we're going to get started. The first thing you obviously do is create a new design file. We're going to go over here at the bottom, create a new frame, obviously. Go to desktop, get yourself a MacBook Pro 14 or MacBook Pro 16, whatever it is that you want. We're going to add this over here, and the next thing we're going to do is obviously add a header and a footer. I feel like we don't. Atul says happy Holi, welcome back. I hope you had a great Holi, and we're back to UI designs. Do not miss the color palettes that we have today. They are just fabulous, because they are taking over the industry, and this is the 50 color palettes you need getting started with the right mindset in 2025. With that done, let's talk about our first UI design for today. Today's UI design is just so heavily reliant on this color palette, but also we're going to talk about how you navigate using colors that are contrast giving, that are unconventional. How do you go about that whole process? So let's just begin. Alright, so the very first thing I'm going to do over here is create a header and a footer. And the good thing with today is, so we're designing 5 different hero sections today, which means we don't really have to worry about, at least for this one, just having the perfect website and having every single section out there. Let's talk about what I just started. We have the perfect 50 color palettes for 2025 that the pros don't want you to find out, because you see these color palettes over and over and over again as a repeated pattern when professionals are building some of the most awesome websites in the world, and it's amazing. So we have those color palettes and we have them on our site today, veerashrivastava.com. Join in from the link in the description or the live chat. Welcome back to those of you who have just started watching us right now. Let's begin. So the first thing you obviously have to do is add a title or a header, and we're just going to add a simple frame rectangle over here. We don't have to have anything complicated happening at all. We're going to add a fill, which is going to be deep blue, and then we're going to add a footer as well. I feel like today we're just simplifying things and just seeing what a real world application would look like. So if this was a whole site of itself, you could drag this out, make this bigger, and then have the same color work over and over again. So we're just going to drag this down a little bit and obviously add our first color. And I feel like the best thing that you can do when you have a good color palette with you is you can use the same exact color over and over again. Just use the eyedropper tool, and it genuinely gives out really good results. All right, with that done, let's also talk about the other colors that we're working with. So this isn't a plain black, white, blue kind of UI. This uses a lot of colors and many of them are hidden as well. So we're going to talk about that as well. The first thing you need to do is obviously get our image. Let's just copy our image and bring this down over here. Paste it here. Obviously we're just going to get this image inside, add it to the bottom, and now we have a good focal point to work with. And the point with today's UI is you don't always have to have images and illustrations that always match the colors of your color palette. So I feel like many designers right now always complain about or genuinely give the concern of not all illustrations have the same exact color as my color palette, and that's driving me insane because I don't have the exact same color and it's giving us a problem. But I feel like in a very practical sense, you don't always have to have the perfect colors that are the same exact hex codes as your color palette to make things work. As long as it's contrasting, as long as it works well together, you're going to be fine, right? Now that we have an image with us, we're going to add our title, which is in the font Heptaslab. I used to use Heptaslab such a long time ago and I just forgot about it completely, which is weird of me. Let me add TBC, which is the logo of our site. I truly don't have any idea on what the name of the logo is because somehow I've forgotten. Heptaslab is the font that we're using today, and I think this is such an awesome font because of the curves and the perfect kerning that it gives you with the whole rounded appeal of everything, and it's just a really easy font to work with when you're working with logos and stuff. So we've basically differentiated all of these and we've sort of broken them down, and we're using 2 different copies of the same text, and we're adding one drop shadow which is on the first layer and the other one is the plain text. So we're just doing that over and over again. Let's just copy and paste this once again, and we're going to take this back over here, right click, send to back, and then you're just going to drag it below this container. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lock the first one, and now we can openly decide the background shadows, and the background shadows for this are going to be pink, blue, pink, which is just this color as well. So we're just going to go over here, change this up, and then we're going to go back over here, change this up as well. I feel like the whole color selection process and the confusion and the getting colors right tail ends the moment you decide you're going to work with these colors. This is just super duper cool. And as we progress, we're going to actually find out many a times a lot of colors aren't always necessarily to be used all the time. So for example, if I'm using the 4 of these colors, I don't necessarily have to use this one, and that would be a fine color palette. Or if I'm using this, and this, I don't always have to use this one. So today's first UI is to demonstrate the principle of you don't always need to use every single color in the color palette. You can use your brain with that a little bit in order to make sense and in order to get things going right, with if that makes any sense at all. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add this title which says we help ideas bloom. Let's just do that. We're going to go over here and type out in a wonderfully large heptaslab font, "We help ideas bloom." All right. And once we have that with us, let's change this to say heptaslab. Font weight is going to be regular, obviously. Font size is going to be 105, and then we're going to align this perfectly in the center. With that done, we're going to now work with this font to get us to the right position. So there are a couple of things that we're highlighting with today's font, which is the W and also these circles and then the M. So we're just doing the same exact thing over and over again. The way we're going to do this is we're going to copy the W and then we're going to paste it back here again. And then we're going to make sure it is bold. With that done, let's just change this to pink, right click, send to back, and then we're going to offset this a little bit. So the point is to make it look like a drop shadow, but this isn't a drop shadow because drop shadows apply to the whole text chain. So you would have to either separate the W from the sentence, which would cause line alignment issues, and it would just be a whole different fish that you don't want to fry right now. It's just not something I want to get into. Also, I wanted to highlight these O's very, very specifically, and I feel like we're just paying very, very detailed attention to every single element in the hero section today because we need this to look different. So today I got a really interesting comment on one of my Twitter posts today. By the way, follow me there if you are not yet doing that. Veera Srivastav, plain. I got a really interesting comment that said, in a world where we are dominated by industry and competition so much, there is extremely a huge amount of pressure on UI UX designers to make sure that the thing that you're designing is very, very different from everything else that's present in the competition, and to make sure everything is very, very different and clear looking and doesn't do a lot of friction when the user signs up, if that makes sense. So I feel like just getting the right colors and getting the right fonts and paying attention to what you're making makes the whole process of standing out in crowded industries so much easier. Your people, your freelance clients will always appreciate you for taking the extra mile, taking the extra step, and just paying the right amount of consideration to the stuff that you're building out. Alright, so with that done, you can offset them in any direction you want. We have got our perfect title and hero section, and I feel like we're already super duper close to getting this done. So we're just going to group these together, shift this above, and then shift this above as well. And then we only have a couple of things left, I believe. Now we're going to put out a title which says Home, About, Services, and Rate Us. So let's just do that for a moment. Let's go over here at the top and type out Home. And now we're going to switch over our font because too much heptaslab is no heptaslab at all. Then it's just a weird font. So we're just going to change this to Outfit, which is our favorite font on this channel. And we're going to add it over here. People talk about Futura being the best font. And honestly, I've just not had a lot of experience using Futura, even after making like hundreds of thousands of UIs, because Futura is really hard to access because I think it's on Adobe Fonts. I'm not entirely sure if you can easily access it through Google Fonts, and check it out. All of these are Google Fonts and you can't find Futura anywhere. This is what makes me really, really mad. So this is why I will always prefer Outfit any day. But there is a little bit of an issue with Outfit. Sometimes you can't find italics, but if you're using Adobe products, you can italicize any font that you want, which is kind of nice. So if you're working with Adobe products and don't mind italicizing things yourself, I feel like this is the perfect font for you. All right, let's now right click this button and sort of try to create a simple button with it. We're going to add a layout and also add a padding from the right and left and top and bottom sides. We're going to add a fill, which is going to be deep blue, and also the text color, which is going to change to white. And with that done, I feel like the weird edgy feel can stay with us. I was initially planning on sort of rounding things off, but I feel like with the font that we're using, which is heptaslab, I feel like just edgying things and serify things will just work. So if this is a really good rule of thumb, if you're working with serif fonts that are really, really showing up really prominently, then it's a good idea to have edgier buttons. But if you're working with curvier fonts, easier on the eyes, then it's a good idea to work with simpler rounded off buttons. So if I had a sans serif font, I would use rounded buttons. If I had a serif font, I would use edged, squared off buttons, if that makes sense. But it's actually a really, really practical advice, and 90% UIs, even if this isn't a technically written in stone rule, will be doing this right now in the current state of web design, which is an interesting pattern and an interesting fact to know. With that done, let's just add this over here and check it out, you guys. We have successfully completed the navigation bar as well. With that done, the next thing we're building out is our super cool tooltip, and then I'm also happy to build this guy out. I'm certainly hoping we can build it out, because this is going to be fun, honestly. Alright, the next thing we're doing is we're going to add a simple tooltip, the latest edition of the Bloom Company magazine, TBC, the Bloom Company magazine, edition 11 is out now. Alright, we're just going to get this text, type this out really, really quickly. Welcome to the Holi special live stream, the latest edition of the Bloom Company, latest edition of the, wow, I can't type, horrible, the Bloom Company is out now. I feel like that's it. Alright, let's just make this smaller. I'm just going to stay with the text because what is in the text is not important. Let's change the text to say edition 11 is out, because this just really, really bugs the OCD robo in me. With that done, now we're going to create an actual tooltip, which is just going to take another color from our simple color palette. I feel like this is just so effective, so simple as a strategy to get started using color palettes. We're going to right click, bring this to front, align this over here in the center. I'm just going to make this as big as I need to. Ultimately, that is the point. You can make it as big as you need to. And we're going to just make this as small as we need to. So you can basically adjust it to whatever shape or size you want. The color that we're using today is obviously from our color palette, which is going to get this, guys. This is so easy to work with. It's totally amazing. We're going to make this thicker, obviously, and then change the color just to highlight things back to the blue that we've been using from our modern robot color palette. With that done, we're going to add a call to action button, because who doesn't need a call to action button in the field of UI UX design? Like, everyone needs one. Wow, I just closed our UI. What a genius, Veera. What a genius. Let's change this to a really deep shade of navy blue, because obviously we need to. And then we're going to change it to say, check us out now. Check this out. And then we're going to make sure this is set to a really capitalized text. And I feel like let's just get this very bold and really in your face, because ultimately we want the user to check this out, and ultimately this is the next action we want the user to perform. What is the point of designing a good UI if you can't get your users to perform the task you want? Which is why call to action buttons are really important, right? And now that we have done this is pretty much it, and I feel like this offset could be a nice effect on purpose. With that done, the next thing we're going to do is this really simple trendings.hits section. Let's just build this out. So this is built in our simple font. I feel like this is Inter. Obviously it is. And then we're going to curve this together. There is a really elegant plugin in Figma called the Arc plugin with which you can do this, but I wouldn't recommend going to Arc plugin because the free trials turn out really quickly, and it doesn't make sense for most beginners on a daily basis level, the pricing of it all. And so it's just easier to just learn the right way of doing things from the start, just so you don't have to get logged into every single little framework that exists, if that makes sense. Alright, we're going to change this to regular, and then we're going to type out the entire thing that we want to, which is trending.hits. Right? So the thing over here to look for is you have to make sure every single alphabet that you're using is different. Let's just add this over here and then copy and paste it a bunch of times. Atul says, how to know the best color palette for the website according to the importance? What an interesting question. I want to answer this question. I will absolutely drop everything to answer this question, because every single one of you watching this needs to know, how do you use the best color palette now that you have the best 51s out there, right? So I just want to take a moment to just really educate everyone who's watching this. If you just go to Google and search for the color wheel, this is really basic color 101 stuff. I just want to get this out of the way, you guys. Hold on with me. This is really important stuff. Everyone needs to know about this and not enough people do. This is your standard color wheel, and red is the color for aggression and passion and just either romantic stuff or just stuff that you are really getting into the personal lives of people about. So you have the red and pink spectrum for over there. So you're going to either go into deep emotions, whether that's sort of very romantic stuff, whether that's very passionate stuff, whether it's the Valentine Day theme, whether it's really feminine themes. So you're going over here with those colors. Blue is the color that's more office formal, that's more cool, that's more calm, that's more combined. And I'm just starting with one color at a time, and then we're going to scale it to how to get my perfect 5 colors, right? Then green is the color of nature, very serene stuff. The colors that are in the blue and green and the between spectrum are for the medical industry, because medical industries are either promoting using natural stuff or they're promoting the color blue, which is for trust, right? So every single color has a certain theme attached to it, and you can Google this list off of any place you want. Purple is the color for royalty, orange and yellow are the color for sunrise, and stuff like that. So when you know that the site that you're designing for is of the medical field, you are automatically leaning towards the colors blue, and if it's homeopathic or if it's very natural, you're also leaning towards green. Let's say I'm just leaning towards pure blue surgical equipment websites, right? In that case, I know I'm going to stick with this side of the color spectrum. So I already know the shades that I always need to have in my site, regardless if the color palette is made by me or regardless if the color palette is made by a generator or if it's given to you by Veera. So all of those are perfectly visible options. But now that I know that the site that I'm using is really based in blue and really based in medicine, now I can look at which of these color palettes are the most based in blue. So I obviously see a couple of color palettes that are really catching my eye when I search for the color blue. It's this one and this one and this one. And now when we have our top 3 picks, let's talk about how to get the perfect color palette. So you can get the perfect color palette either by saying blue is a must have for me, and then here are the extra color palettes. So let's also talk about the extra colors that are available. Purple is a very royal themed, extravagance themed color, which is why I wouldn't recommend on it. And now we've broken it down to just 2 options. If you're going for very natural tones here, if you're promoting some very natural form of medicine, I would recommend going with blue. But if you're working with really practical, scientific, trust-based modern medicine, I would recommend with the black dominated colors, if that makes sense. So that's the best way to pick the right color palette for your website, if that was interesting to you at all. And that's just a little bit of a lesson. So if you're looking for a very practical medical website, as we were in this example, Delicate Cadence is the color palette for you. I hope that answered your question. I know that was a long rant, but it was the right rant for the moment. With that done, now we're going to talk about trending hits. Let's do TRENDING. Let's just copy and paste this and add it over here. NG. And then I'm going to add a point, which you can either add as a full stop or search for ASCII points. You know what? I'm just going to search for an ASCII point. Just go to ASCII point and search for it, and this is the ASCII bullet point, which is just perfect for our use case today. You don't want to use a full stop in this case because full stops go at the bottom. ASCII characters of bullets remain in the middle, and that's what we're aiming for today. And then we're going to add HITS. So let's just do this 4 more times, and then we're going to add trending hits. Happy Holi, everyone. Welcome to our Holi special live stream. Say something nice in the chat, because this is my favorite festival, and also I've launched the site to help the needs of everyone on this channel, which is also amazing. I will answer the questions which are really interesting of the live chat in just a bit. So if you could just let me do this, then I'm going to get to that coming up in just a moment. All right. This is the trending hits text group that we're working with now. Let's work with this right now. So you know what, let's just answer the questions in the chat first, because I feel like 2 different trajectories, brain just going in all different directions. What is the color palette for a chocolate brand? And this just really caught my eye because it was a question that stood out. chocolate is naturally associated with the color with the color brown, because chocolate is brown for the most case. Now you're just going to go over here to this group of color palettes and just ask yourself, where do I see most brown? That's it. So right off the bat, I see brown over here, I see brown over here, I see brown over here. And now I'm going to think chocolate is very, very passionately brown. So I need to stick to those colors. The only color group out of this, and this that doesn't go to green and pink and little teal and white and all of these weird shades and goes directly to brown and gives us 3 different shades of brown to work with is this one, which is why Champagne Rouge would be the perfect brown that we would use for a chocolate brand. Speaking of which, the next UI that we're going to be designing is also going to be in this exact color palette, Champagne Rouge. So just stick around for that, because you'll also see how to use this in a very practical sense, as your question asked. I hope that answered your question. The next thing that we're doing is obviously changing this trending hits line to a trending hits circle. Let's do that. Now we're going to sort of rotate this by a little bit, and I know rotating things off of the eye can be complicated, which is why we're going to create a temporary ellipse right now, and we're just going to add this over here, and then we're going to organize everything as if this was perfectly suited for the ellipse. So we're going to send the ellipse to the back, and then we're going to make sure everything is aligned perfectly. You can get these color palettes from the link in the live chat, which is veerasrivastava.com. Sign up. It's completely for free, and just enter your email ID and get your free color palette group right now. This is going to be amazing. All right, let's just rotate these a little bit, and we obviously have to make sure all of the text letters wrap around us perfectly. We're going to select this, rotate this over here. Just go to the link in the live chat or description, veerasrivastava.com. Join us there. Have your own group of color palettes. It's just the most easiest thing ever. Let's just rotate this. And if you go to the beginning of this video, I've also talked about how to import your own color palette inside of Figma. Let's rotate this guy up here. And obviously you can rotate these as much as you want to, but we're going to make sure we have sort of equal spacing. So I feel like this is the amount of rough spacing we need. Once you do this a couple of times, you will have your perfect your perfect rotation of characters all available right now. Let's just do this repeatedly, and then we're going to have our perfect alphabets ready with us. So this is a little bit complicated at first, but honestly it just becomes really easy as soon as you start doing it. Trending, and then we're also going to do hits, because who doesn't need trending hits? This is actually a really popular form of getting everything nice and organized, and I don't see people using this often enough, which is why every single thing that I'm bringing to this live stream today is only something I've seen pro designers use, which is why this was the perfect moment to get this to our audience today. And these are the perfect color palettes, you guys. So just add them to your Figma community posts directory. It's just going to be super duper useful all the time, I promise. All right, and we're just going to rotate this to make sure we have a roughly equal amount of space. You don't have to make sure everything looks perfect, as long as it looks perfect for the context that we're getting it over here. All right, and now that we have our final dot ready with us, we're going to get rid of this circle, add a simple arrow. So we're just going to draw a simple arrow with us, add a pen tool, just draw a simple line, and drawing arrows is super duper simple in Figma. Draw a simple line, go over here, make sure the end point of one of your lines is set to an arrow and the other one is set to a round circle, and then increase the stroke width. When you do that, you find yourself using a really nice looking arrow. And now we have this really nice looking trending hits circle with us. Then make sure to just drag your cursor over all of these elements, group them together so that now you can move them as one. And then we're going to add this over here visually, horizontally. And then I'm going to select all of these at once, Control G to group them together, and add them on this side as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have created for ourselves the Bloom Company UI. And yeah, the point that I want to talk about over here is we haven't used conventionally this shade over here. One of the ways you could think about color palettes today is you don't always need to use the perfect colors or every single color of the color palette to have your UI make sense. But in this case, if you want to, you can use a color for highlights as well. So let's talk about how to use this color for highlights. Again, we have an illustration, a genuinely nice illustration with us, and it's pre-made. So someone else made and gave this to me. So what I want to do right now is use my third color to highlight the elements that I want to highlight. I'm just going to use my pen tool, drag it over here to create the perfect leaf, to sort of take over this space and use this over and over again. So I'm just going to add the green that we're using from our color palette, and obviously send this behind our actual image. And when you do that, you have your actual illustration lines show up, and then you can actually use them to make things look all nice and pretty and useful. Check it out. Now you have this color from your color palette highlighting the element that you need to highlight. Let's just go ahead and do this, because I did not initially plan to do it, as you can see from over here, but I am absolutely in love with the way this concept is working right now. Like, this is genuinely such a great way of highlighting things. Just use your pen tool to create any of these elements, any of these leaves that you need to highlight, bring them behind your image, and then add a fill which is exactly the same shade of green as you have been using from the top. Let's go over to the top, add over here the shade of green that we're using, and then we're going to add over here another shade of green as well. Let's just go ahead and make this a couple of times. And this takes time sometimes, but all good things take time, and this is one of those things that just gives you really, really great results overall. You can find all of the colors of the color palette down here at the bottom. Once you have, you're going to bring this over here. Make sure these points are matching with each other. So if your points are not superseding on top of each other, then you're not going to have a color that's actually visible, if that makes sense. Let's just add this over here. Why are you not having a genuine fill? This is concerning deeply to me. All right, now we have this over here with us. Let's put this behind us. I really, really hope this makes sense. I don't think we should add it over here. I think this is not transparent, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. You know what? I'm just going to lock this image now. Close this off. And then if you're doing the wrong thing, just repurpose it. Like, this is my practical real life workflow. Just changing illustrations to fit them to our own use case. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it actually looks good and gives off a good UI design. All right, let's add this over here. We're going to make sure this is completely rounded off. Add a simple pen tool, add this to complete our shape. Just round it off completely, and then change this to, say, the green that we've been using. Once that is done, I feel like we could do a couple more of these guys. I want to add them to the stars, and then that's going to be it for this UI. You could do this for as long as you want, but I feel like I just want to get this element done really, really quickly. All right, I feel like these stars are super bright, super amazing, super perfect for our use case. Let's add in a fill. Let's just add our simple shade of green that we've been using, and then we're going to bring this behind everything that we have. All right, let's just copy and paste this exact shape once again, drag it down, make it smaller, go over here. If it's superseding the lines that we've previously established, double click to view your points, and then that's it. Check it out, you guys. We are done with the whole first UI, and now we're going to go to Champagne Rouge, which is our second color palette of the day, and use it to make our brilliant UI. So this is it. This is the perfect first color palette, and the way it has given us the greatest UI that we could ever ask for. You can add the green over here and any of the other leaves and bushes, but I feel like this is the perfect stopping point for us to, wow, my laptop is not charging. What a weird thing to happen. With that said, check it out. This is our perfect first color palette. Congratulations, you've successfully used your first color palette to create a genuinely nice looking UI design. With that said, let's go to page number 2. Let's get our second color palette, which is a Champagne Rouge, and try to construct a real world UI off of that. All right, so the thing that I want to design with this today is going to be a little bit different than stuff you've already seen. This is very, very unconventional, but also just works so well today. So we have this recommended flowers post, and I just want to take a moment to talk about something important today. This would be the website that you're using. This is the website that you're actually using in real life. This is the squared off shape that we give UIs sometimes when we're to post them on either Instagram or either Twitter or any of these social media platforms. Sam says happy Holi to you. I know I look purple, that's very intentional, deal with it. Alright, so we're using the color palette Champagne Rouge to work with this UI today. The actual hero section of the website looks like this, but I want to add over here really clearly. Wow, my camera is stuck. Shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. Wow, this is going to be a horrible thing that has happened to us. If you guys could bear with me for a second, I'm going to remove it and then add it over again. I have no idea why I'm talking about this on stream. Wow, I've used the wrong camera. This is honestly shocking. Properties. I feel like my camera went away somewhere. This is horrible. Hold on. I feel like I should pause the stream somehow, but that's not entirely possible, which makes me worried. Can you guys give me a moment? This is happening and it's happening weirdly. Maybe we could go on with this camera, but I just want to get this right. Give me a moment. I'll just fix it. Oops. Oh no. This is bad. Go away, camera. Please leave. Why did my camera stop working? Give me a moment, I'm just going to fix this. This is really weird today. And we're back. We are back again. I feel like the camera is working again. It wasn't before and now it is. Oh, the world of electronics. Too weird for me to understand. If this doesn't fix itself as I am working on it in 3 seconds, I'm just going to change over the camera to the lower quality one, which is not something we want, but it's something we have got. Oh no. I don't think the good camera is coming today. I think we'll have to make do with the bad kind of camera, you guys. Now you're going to see me with the bad kind of camera. Get ready for this one. Wow, this is awesome. Just what you want to happen on a weird day. This is my video call camera. If you've ever joined me on a video call, this is exactly what I've used. So let's try to. Can I just crop this out for a moment? I just have to do something about this being really weird. You know what? Hold on. Oh no. I'm just going to make this smaller because it's really hard to work with on Figma. With that, we have successfully established. I'm sorry, there's no zooming in and out on this one. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope I look better on the live stream now. We've hopefully fixed that up, even though we haven't. I feel like this is a better camera angle for some reason. The camera angle with the last laptop used to be terrible, which is why we got the external camera. Forget about it. Alright, so we were talking about UI designs and awesome stuff. Let me just go to this clearly. Wow, I'm not used to this camera at all. With that said, let's talk about UI designs. So, where was I? I've completely forgotten. No, I'm kidding. We were talking about the color palette Champagne Rouge and what we're building with it today. This is the UI that we're building today. Thank you so much for sticking around through that whole mishap. This is the this is the site that we're going to be using as our real hero product, but this is still, the rectangle in itself is still something you need to know how to build, especially if you're going to be sharing your UIs on your Behance, on your Dribble, on your Instagram. And I didn't know anything about the rectangle before I did Behance and Dribble and Instagram heavily, before I did my own portfolio. But when you do build out your own portfolio, you want a good way to showcase what you're building out on your stream and on what you're building out, which is why it is always a good idea to learn how to make a rectangle which works well with your background. And we're going to do that today with the color palette Champagne Rouge. So this is what we're building out today. Let's add it to a new page just so we know what we're working with. Champagne Rouge is our color palette is our Champagne Rouge. I'm sorry for repeating myself, I will figure this out. With that said, this is the UI that we're building today. Let's close this guy up, and I'm going to add another page. This is Champagne Rouge that we've gotten from our color palettes, and now we're going to build out our actual UI. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously create a new frame. This is going to be a 16 by 9 plain simple vertical frame that we're working with over here, and we're going to start working with that and then build our way up to our primary standard square. Let's do a simple MacBook Air 1280 by 832, and then we're going to, so the goal over here is to make this guy as presentable as possible, and to do that we're going to add a couple of images and then a couple of text groups as well. So let's just add a couple of rectangles just so we know where we're adding our images. Copy and paste this a bunch of times because we need to reuse those rectangles over and over again. Let's add this over here, make these a little bit shorter in height, align them perfectly, and now I'm going to get all of these images. So my favorite place to get all of my images is Unsplash. I'm going to go to Unsplash, which is a plugin in Figma, and it just works wonderfully to give you the best images and illustrations. You can choose for flowers brown, and it'll give you the perfect brown flowers, and they'll just work really, really well with what you're building. You know what? I just want to go with flowers yellow because brown is a gloomy color for flowers, not going to lie. Let's get ourselves a couple of yellow flowers just so they look nice and pretty. I feel like this is just coming out to be even better than what we had planned eventually, which is great. And also I'm still getting used to the new camera location, which is also quite great. I'm worried the camera looks weird, but I'm just going to forget about it now. You won't hear me talking about it again on stream. My apologies. Alright, the next thing we're doing is obviously adding a price card, which is quite important over here because we need to know what the price is, what the actual product is. This is the most minimalistic design possible. And so we're just going to zoom in, add a rectangle, just make it big enough for us to fit into our screen, elongate the height, close this guy off, add an effect of drop shadow, and then make sure the y-axis value is reduced a little bit. Once that is done, we're going to change the color to plain white, maybe increase the spread effect or the blur effect a little bit. I feel like this is good enough for now, so I'm just going to stick with it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is obviously add a price and then the kind of flower that we're working with and then the underline. So let's just go over here, add a simple price. Let's do $4.56, which is a lot of dollars for one single flower, but I'm just committed to this whole plan now. And the font that we're using is a really, really thin version of Roboto Condensed. Roboto Condensed is naturally a thin version of Roboto. So if you were not entirely sure, Roboto Condensed is a thin version. Roboto Slab is the serif version of Roboto, which is a nice, simple, plain sans serif font. And now that we have our actual first color to use, so up until now we only had the colors black to use. So the next color that we're using is actually going to be something that we choose from our color palette. Let's get this from right over here, 070707, which is a color in our color palette, Champagne Rouge. Let's change this to semi-bold and centerline everything. Wow, centerline everything. Let's just frame this selection, and then every single thing that we have inside of the frame will be accessible easily. And then we're going to copy and paste this once again and change the font to say Orchid. Let's increase the font size because why not? Wow, make sure to make it thinner, align it perfectly in the center, And then, you know what, I'm just going to make this thin as well. The first cover file is the thumbnail for the entire show. The color palettes are the page number 2. So if you could just go over here, you could find our color palettes complete version, if that makes sense. This is the cover page for the entire color palette set. These are the color palettes, and then these are the Easter eggs. Don't miss it. All right, and now we're going to create a really simple. Until it's downloaded inside of your Figma file, it's available. If you could just see the different pages that are available. All right, let's now change this color to something from our color palette as well. So I feel like this is already 070707 from our previous color palettes. We're going to go over here, and then we're going to get the light shade of purple, which we need to use next. All right, and with that done, I feel like that's pretty much it. That's just really it. It's just that simple. Let's just select all of these, align them in the center perfectly. With that done, check it out, you guys. We have the simplest little UI with us. Let's reduce the font size here as well, because I feel like it's just too much. And with that done, we now have a really simple looking hero section. And now this is the basic hero section. I'm still looking at the old camera, I'm so sorry. And then we're going to change the text as well. So the font that we're using for this one is Coolin. Look at me, I already remember the font name. I'm so cool. No, I'm kidding. This is Coolin. No, what? It's Statliches. I thought it was Coolin. In my defense, I'm just going to get into a debate with myself real quick. Bear with me for a second. This is the font Statliches. And then if you change this to Coolin, you will find something really funny. Wow, I can't type Coolin. These are the exact same fonts. Who in the world sent them off as 2 different fonts? This is Statliches. This is so funny, you guys. This is a UI funny side bar, if you would. Check it out. These are the exact same fonts. There is nothing different about Coolin and Statliches. They are exactly the same. Like how is that even possible? This is so weird. All right. We've got K is cool in the house. Hello, welcome back. A wonderful designer to grace us with their presence. All right, we're going to add the first alphabet here with us as well. Our recommended flowers. All right, so the font that we're using at the top is obviously Roboto Condensed. Let's just add this over here at the top. Our recommended, type it out, recommended. And since this is the top bar, we could change the colors. Wow, I forgot to spell. This is amazing. Let's change the color to, you know what, let's change this to semi-bold. That was fine. And then we're going to change this to 660033, which is a medium color from our Champagne Rouge color palette. Amazing. Now we're going to add the font Coolin or Statliches because they are the same exact font. Super freaky, I know. Flowers is the word that we need to type out. To answer what has been said in the comments about me, absolutely, I played Holi and I pity those who didn't. This is amazing. And then we're going to change it to Statliches or Coolin. Honestly, they are the same exact font, which I just now realized. All right. Let's just add this over here. And now we're going to change this to the darkest shade that we can find. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning when Atul asked the question of color palettes and chocolate-based websites. I feel like when you have the perfect number of, like 3 is like the greatest number of single shade you're going to find in a site, when you have all of these different brown variations to play around with, now you can actually build up an actual UI, beginning, middle, end, give it flavors, make it work. So this is why we're using 3 different color palettes. This and this give off a completely different flavor, are of the same color and contrast level almost, and yet they look pretty damn nice. All right, with that done, let's now add a title to our UI. So let's just go over here at the top. Really simple stuff. We're going to select the first alphabet that comes to us. I remember back in the day, a really long time ago, Statliches and Roboto Condensed obviously used to be my favorite font combinations ever. And I realized just right now that Roboto Condensed and Coolin is the same exact font. How weird is that? All right, let's change this to be the middle shade of brown, because we use the light one, dark one, and then we're going to use the middle one, just so we're tying everything together. The thing with today's UI is we've bypassed the whole black and white pure colors altogether. We're sticking with the colors from our color palette. So you can obviously use black and white if you need to, but when you're choosing all of these dark colors from our color palette, that is also a really, really good shade that you can work with. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build out a menu for ourselves. So the way we're going to do this is, let's just go over here, search for Iconify, and as it loads Iconify, let's search for a simple menu, and you can use any menu over here that you want. Let's get this right aligned menu over here, make it smaller, and obviously make it smaller once again. Let's just zoom in, align it perfectly, and you can make this as small as you want. It honestly does not matter. Wow, this is just really, really weird. All right, let's just make sure this aligns perfectly, and then we're going to press the Alt key. The spacing between this and this is 13 pixels. If the spacing between this and this is also 13 pixels, which it is, and the top spacing is always 12 pixels, it's working perfectly, and that's amazing for us. We're going to change this to be the dark shade of purple, because of course we're alternating between all of the different shades of brown, now that we have those choices with us, with the genuinely great palette that is Champagne Rouge. Let's just shift this down. How is it even possible? I'm still questioning my instincts so bad over here. The fonts Statliches and Coolen, which I always confused for each other, are exactly the same. Like, I will post a short about this. This is such a weird complaint for me. With that said, let's just design our final call to action button, which is going to be on this side. This is really, really unconventional as a place for a button, but we're going to do this anyways. This is just going to be amazing. All right, let's just create a simple square for us. First of all, align it perfectly with the center of our images. Once that is done, we're going to double click, and that's going to give us all of these different points to work with. Let's just select them both and align them perfectly in the center. Add a really, really high border radius. And with that, we have a perfectly circled off button. And then we're going to just change the color over here to the deep shade of brown. How do I confuse brown and purple? How is that possible? Who made me a UI designer? Can you take their degrees back, please? No, I'm kidding. And now we're going to design our simple line. So let's just add a simple line over here, and then change this to an arrow based edge, and then change this to round, and then we're going to change this color to white. As soon as you make this thicker, your arrow head is automatically going to become bigger, which is a fun little surprise as you're designing, and you'll just figure this out, and it'll be just the easiest thing to work with. I feel like the whole stroke size 3 is almost always perfect when you're designing for things like these. Let's just shift this ahead, and now we're going to do our final background square. So this is the square that I'm talking about. If you look at people's Instagram feeds, you have these circular grids. If you look at people's Behance or Dribble feeds or case studies, they really need to showcase the stuff that they're building outside of the traditional laptop and mobile wireframe setting. So this is where the circular or triangular background comes. Wow, I've mixed all the circles, and I managed to talk about rectangles, triangles, and circles instead of saying squares this whole time. Look at me, being a complete doofus. All right, we're just going to create a simple squared frame. I'm sorry, English is really, really hard today. We're just going to make this as squared as we can. The width for this shape is 1210, which means we have to make the square itself bigger than that, so the width has to be smaller always. We're going to change this to say 1400, and then this also has to say 1400 for us. All right, and now you have two different options basically. The first option is to change the background color to a plain shade, which we could do. We could just add a yellow, and it looks so insanely cute. Like this just looks so pretty, you guys. You could use any of these shades, and because we have very, very strategically placed our colors all over the place, automatically this looks perfect. You could go for a 50-50 effect where you could add this image, send it to the back, and then import an image over here, but I'm just not going to do that because this looks insane, and you could just put this on your Instagram profile. This is exactly what I'd use, and it's better than Carbon and any of these other Clay and all of these platforms that are available for creating mockups and prototypes. And then we're going to add a drop shadow on our frame just so we have a nice popping out effect from the stuff that we've been building in the background. Let's change the X and Y's to 0, add a blur value, add a spread value. Also make sure this is thinner, and check it out, you guys. This looks great. We're going to add a blur. And now you could basically use any shade of all of these or even outside of these, and it would still work. And I want to demonstrate that really quickly for you. So we obviously can't use white because that's just the same exact thing, but we can use every single one of these shades for the background. Like, all of these are Instagram worthy, like all of these are amazing, and we can just literally use any color. Like, it wouldn't matter if you chose this or that, like all of those are just perfect. And you could reduce the drop shadow for lighter shades, but honestly all of these are perfect. I would personally go with this one, but even if you don't, that's completely fine. Like, this is the perfect UI for a chocolate based layout. You could change all of these images to chocolate images and I would buy it. That, as simple as that. So we've made our second successful hero section with us. With that said, I need to drink water like all humans do, and I will be back for the third UI hero section. The next color palette that we're going to be working with is going to be, surprise, surprise, Delicate Cadence, which was the color palette that we chose for the medical site, as you asked in a previous question. Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around after that excruciatingly long break. We are back again and we're designing with the font Delicate Cadence. Let's just copy this color palette back with us to a third page. And the stuff that we're designing today, so this was the color palette that we decided to work with. And the thing that we're designing today is going to be, for our third color palette, is, wow, where did you go? This pretty little UI, and I know this looks just really simple and nothing complicated and nothing to write home about, but I promise you this is also based on the same exact principles that we talked about, and it's just going to be such a great addition to the UI that you have been building. So let's just get started. With that said, we are super duper close to 900 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, what in the world are you doing? Go ahead and subscribe right now. All right, so with that done, let's get started. We're going to go over here, click on page number 3, go over to our palette, select Delicate Cadence, which is one of my favorite most palettes in the whole world, and then we're going to create a simple frame. Let's just go over to the background. I know I'm super duper close to the camera, freaks me out every single time I look at it. We're going to create a simple MacBook Pro, because why would we not? And then we're going to create this really simple boundary. So we're going to create a really nice square. The square is to be the exact same height as our frame, and then the height is going to be the width because this is a square. So we're just going to copy and paste it as it is. Let's just add it right over here. We're just going to align it perfectly, and then we're going to change the color for one of those backgrounds to the blue from Delicate Cadence. Surprise, surprise. And then we're going to add some text over here, add an image over here. It generally does not matter which image it is, as long as it's an image. So, wow. Let's go to unsplash.com once again and get for ourselves a really nice looking image. What image do we search for? Let's search for blue, and whatever comes up, I'll just happily accept at this point. You know what? Let's just search for blue flowers, because doing anything else would be weirdly complicated. As the season changes, so does the atmosphere, and the humidity in this room that I'm in is insane. You would not survive a day. It's like living in a sauna. It's horrible. With that said, let's get any of these images inside of our frames. Where do I get an image? Wow. Let's get this image inside. I certainly hope this looks good and works with our UI. You could use this as an image. It does look very, very peaceful. You could also remove its background, but I feel like I just want to commit to the whole thing exclusively. I could remove the background of the flowers as we did for this one, but honestly this looks much more natural. I'm just going to stick with it just in the heat of the moment. With that done, let's also now create our menu bar. Go over to the bottom, search for Iconify. We already have the menus. Search for, get one of our menus from over here, make them smaller, obviously, stick them over here, make them much smaller, add them over to this section, and obviously we need to change the color to get one from our favorite color palette, which is Delicate Cadence. All right, we don't need the pink in the Delicate Cadence. I'm just going to change it back. And with that done, you guys, this is so nice. All right, the next thing we're doing is adding the whole broken text effect, and I'm going to expand on that a little bit. The whole word deco could be broken down as a single word, or you could break this down into this nice looking square effect. And so we've just done that, and it's just really simple to use. The fonts that we're using today are only one and only Rubik, and I feel like Rubik deserves a whole tutorial on its own, and there's a huge reason behind that, and I'm going to get into it one of these days, definitely. All right, let's just get started. We're going to change this to, say, a floral. Let's just go over to the background, and we're going to type out the word FLORAL. Let's change the font family to, say, Rubik, RUBIK. Hold up. Back. Welcome back, everyone who is watching us live, and to everyone who wasn't. Let's get Rubik over here, and we're going to change this to be floral. We're going to increase the font size, obviously, because everyone wants an increased font size. You know what, let's make this bigger. Let's change the font size to 72. Also, we're going to change this to be the the teal that we've been using. Let's just get that as well. I feel like this is bad for contrast, but you could add a simple drop shadow and that'll fix the whole contrast issue. It'll be really nice and visible. In fact, it would add a increased level of prettiness that I honestly want to add over here. So I'm just going to bypass the laws just this one time, and then I'm going to add the word deco, and then add the whole stacked square effect. You know what, I just want to get rid of the drop shadow. This is an aesthetic time for creativity. Let's just add D, make this obviously much bigger, change this to 200, add this over here, copy and paste it once again. I feel like all the makeup and everything is smushed by now, but I'm just really committed to the whole web design thing, so I'm going to stick with it. What else could I possibly do? It obviously is teal, Samseen. This is the color teal. Congratulations on discovering the color teal. I'm just kidding. This is obviously teal. With that said, have you checked out the 50 coolest color palettes in the world right now? Because they are available on veerasrivastava.com. Do not miss it. And now that we have these fonts with us, let's just sort of break them down. The colors that I'm using are from color palette Delicate Cadence, and you can find this on the 50 Nicets color palettes available on the site completely for free. Just link in the live chat and description, just so you know. I'm just putting this out there. All right, let's zoom in, add this over here. And now we have this word sort of deconstructed available with us. We're going to drag this and create the word deco. Zoom in, add this over here, and the only goal is to just align it perfectly. Once that is done, once that is taken care of, we are going to add the word for you, and this is just going to be an exact copy of the floral that we've been using. Let's just copy and paste this over here. Change this to, say, for you. We're going to select this in the center, align it perfectly, and then we're going to add this huge bunch of text. So I'm just going to copy the text, copy this and paste this, copy and paste this font family exactly. I highly encourage you to pause the video, type this out, because if I type it out, I promise you everyone will be tired, including me and you and everyone watching at home. So we're just going to change this color to one from our color palette, which is a delicate cadence. Let's get our pure black. This deco deconstructed is a bigger color, so I would just want to stick with 001926, but for the huge chunk of text I still want to stick with the pure black, especially because it is in our color palette of the day. All right, let's reduce the font size back again, bring this down to a 14, make sure the Rubik font weight is set to semi-bold at max, align it perfectly in the center. The girl says hi, hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us live to the Holi special UI design stream. If anyone thinks I'm crazy, no, it's not that. It's just the color of Holi, which has smushed beautifully. I'll just keep that to that, if I make sense at all. All right, now we're going to design our perfect color, our perfect button for the call to action. And remember, in the beginning of the stream I talked about serif fonts will go with squared off buttons and sans serif fonts that are quite rounded off, like Rubik. So for example, the kerning on this one is rounded off. Now you can easily use a rounded border radius with us. So let's just add order now. Let's just copy and paste it over here and add the word order now. All right, and now we're just going to change this. Samsian, yes, this is a light shade of teal, which is just slipping my mouth right now. You are entirely right on that. The shade that we're working with here is 5EECF1, which is a very, very light shade of teal. And it's honestly doesn't matter right now because we're using the color palette Delicate Cadence. All right, with that done, ladies and gentlemen, let's just frame the selection, back up again, add a layout. We're going to add a little bit of a padding at the top and at the bottom. Since this is a sans serif font, we can very, very easily use a rounded button, and then we're going to add a fill as well. The blue that we're using for our call to action button is going to be taken from over here, and you would use a dark shade with this because I feel like white would just mess up the whole contrast ratio story to a point of no return, which is not really good if I'm a UI designer at all. So I'm just going to select this text and get ourselves the deep dark shade that we're working with. So with that done, we are very, very easily going towards our next step. And I just want to put this out there. If you're working with a background that is light blue, light pink, it's almost always better to use a very, very dark shade of blue or pink as opposed to pure black. It's just a principle that works really, really well. And it's just something you need to know all the time. I'm just going to reduce the line height over here a little bit, and that's just going to make sure this looks much more even, which is going to align this perfectly in the center. And the girl says, yes, I'm not entirely sure on what, but thank you so much. I'm just going to take it. I'm not sure what that was on. Maybe I'm just messing up everything mentally. But now we're designing a bottom footer, which I'm super duper excited about because we didn't exactly have a proper navigation link list at the top, which is why we're going to do it at the bottom. We are freaky that way. Deal with it. Stores, products, details. Let's just add it at the bottom. Let's just add our text to say stores. Wow. Copy and paste it once again. Products. Copy and paste it once again. Wow, I can successfully type the word prod cuts and mess it up every single time. And what else was I talking about? Details. And then we're going to press a shift, select all of them at once, add an auto layout, make sure the spacing within everything is equal, and then align it perfectly in the center. Once that is done, I also need to make sure the font size is reduced because you simply can't have the same exact font size for the call to action button and the footer. That's just the way things are. Like, you have to have a level of hierarchy for your text. So we're just going to reduce this to a small little font size of 13 pixels. Let's just select our whole frame, make sure there's equal amount of spacing between everything, align it all perfectly, and I feel like you could use the dark blue or the black. The girl says the button looks good. Wow, I'm having a really hard time leaving comments. And your take on darker shades on lighter backgrounds. Thank you so much for that compliment. It does. And this is exactly why I highly recommend using the 50 best color palettes that I have worked on for over 5 years now. And this list is finally out completely for free. Available on my website, veerasrivastava.com. Link in the description and live chat. I know it sounded like I was in a weird TV commercial. Consider it done, but it's completely for free. So just sign up. It's super duper easy, and you get access to all of these color palettes, all of which are top industry standards, just the perfect ones, you know. If you follow the entire stream today, you're going to realize what an invaluable session today's is. Like, this is just the best ones we've ever done on this channel. I'm just going to stick with pure black, especially because that is also a color in today's color palette, and that is it. Wow, check it out. This is such a simple, serene UI. But this UI was going from the principle of not just building out a simple hero section, but also taking this hero section and making this presentable across your Instagram, across your Behance, across your Dribble, and across your portfolio or case study. So we have to think about ourselves from a UI designer's perspective now. And the way to do that is, sometimes you see these UIs in this beautiful, delicately wrapped rectangle, which is actually really helpful, because now you are working with this entire square, which you can easily show off, which gives off a much better impression than this, because this is just harder to picture for some non-tech related audiences. So 1728 is the higher end of the dimensions of this frame. We're going to create a square frame that's slightly bigger than this, which is going to be 1800 for us. So we're going to click in the center, and that's just going to create the same exact shape for us. 1800 by 1800 square is the one that we're going to use to present this UI. And the next trick, you guys, you need to know, the next trick is the mantra for every single UI UX designer who wants to build this portfolio. So who wants to build your portfolio and your Behance and your Dribble in this format. The girl says, I'm gonna grab my copy ASAP. You absolutely should. Thank you so much. Just grab your copy. It's completely for free. And by the way, there is 5 Easter eggs available in the last file. I'm not going to say what they're about now, but keep an eye on the channel because something is happening. All right, we're going to drag this guy inside. Wow, I just managed to mess it up, didn't I? That's what happens when you get cocky. We're just going to select this and just bring it in the center. And now we're going to talk about adding an effect. So the first thing you need to do is add a drop shadow. Just don't be irresponsible. Don't do anything without adding a drop shadow. I'm going to talk about what I'm talking about. Just always add a drop shadow. Remember that. That's just the principle for you. You know what? I feel like we could make this a little bit bigger and get away with it. I'm just going to go ahead with making this a little bit bigger. Maybe go up to 1860 by 1860, and then I'm going to select this, align it perfectly in the center, and the only thing that we've done with this frame is add a drop shadow. This is our hero section frame. So now that we have a whole frame ready with us, other than white, because white is the background for our text, if it was a dark mode, then white would have been fine as well. Other than white, we're going to select all of these different colors, and you could use, literally, not even kidding here, you guys, you could change the background color of this square to any one of these colors and place the result on your Instagram profile, on your Dribble, on your portfolio, on your Behance, and it would look incredible. Like, honest to God, right now. Like, I know there's going to be one that everyone's biased with, which is this one in this case, or this one, but honestly, this is just genuinely stuff that you could just go ahead and post right now. So that's just stuff for your portfolio. It's just as simple as that. In fact, the last one that we just did, which was this one, which is far more elegant, to be honest, and this one as well, these are just so incredible and just amazing looking UIs. I am such a huge fan of them. With that said, you guys, let's go over to the third UI that we're building today, which is called, surprise, Honeymoon Boulevard. What a romantic, nice name. And it's going to be an amazing UI that we build with this one. This is so incredible. Check it out. This is my favorite app that I ever built in my whole lifetime. Like, one of the favorite ones. This has got to be top 3. This is what we're going to build with today's color palette. I am super duper excited about this. Honeymoon Boulevard is a color palette that you can find, honestly, standing out in the crowd of the 50 most standing out color palettes in the whole world. This is perfect for the perfect Valentine's Day site. This is perfect for the perfect marriage, wedding sort of site, and it's the perfect to get into the very feminine and family related and all of that whole side spectrum of things. It's just the perfect color palette if you're freelancing and getting into the whole world of marriage sites and that whole business. Like Honeymoon Boulevard is your color palette. Let's grab this guy, and now we're going to add another page because we've been building such awesome stuff. Go back over here, add another page just so we know what we're building with. Honeymoon Boulevard, my favorite color palette of all favorite color palettes. And I know I say this every single time with every single UI, but I'm weak. Whatever I see, if I see it be pretty, I'm just going to say I love it because I do. All right, so these are genuinely the nicest couple of UI screens that I've ever built in my life. Honeymoon Boulevard is responsible for that. We are going to talk about how, and we're going to talk about how you can do the same. So let's get started. All right, we're going to firstly start off obviously with our screen. So the first thing we're going to do is build out our first screen. The first screen we have is built up across a simple image. So I'm just going to create a very simple mobile UI and then add a simple image to this. Let's just go over to our screen. We're going to create a simple frame. Doesn't need to be complicated, doesn't need to be perfect. We're going to create a simple frame, round it off because we're building out for a rounded mobile UI. So most mobiles like this one have a rounded edge, and we're trying to design for that if it makes sense at all. And now we're just going to round this off completely. And we're going to go over here and paste our image, which is honestly perfect for this use case. I want to bring the frame width down to the one that we were working with, just because it'll just fit better and we'll all be happier, and it's going to be a much happier life for all of us, you guys. Let's just make this frame slightly bigger than the shape that we've been working with. And once that is done, we're just going to create a very simple looking rectangle. Check it out. This looks amazing. Let's add this over here, bring it to the back of everything that we've been working with, and inside of our frame, and just have everything be inside of our frame. Why is everything not inside of our frame? This is weird and it's terrible, and everything needs to just go inside. All right, now we're going to change the background color to the middle perfect pink from Honeymoon Boulevard. This is such a weird name. Perfect name for the perfect color palette. I just love it so much. This is just the perfect color palette. And the fact that this pink works with the pig's nose, cherry on top. Sue me if it isn't. All right, the next thing we're doing is saying adopt, don't shop, make a new friend today. If I'm being completely honest, this was the first UI that I ever built in my life where I used my favorite font in the world, Outfit. So in a way, I met my soul font, Outfit, over here, and this is like the perfect Honeymoon Boulevard moment for me as well. Like how cute is that? This was my first real UI where I used the font Outfit, which I love for every single use case now. People say Futura is the greatest font ever, but it's only available in like Adobe fonts. I haven't found it in Google fonts, which is why it's just really difficult for beginners to find it, and it's why I don't recommend too heavily on it, because then the whole Adobe fonts kicker kicks in and then you have a problem there as well. The font weight that we were using here was semi-bold, so I'm just going to stick with that. I want to go with bold, but you know what, we're going to be honest with the work that we're working with today. So with that done, we're going to type out make a new friend today. My favorite font used to be Roboto before I used Outfit, which was such a weird moment, because this tagline that I'm writing now in was in Roboto, and I used to write with Roboto all the time, and then I just wrote, literally this is the first UI that I used Outfit in, then I wrote this sentence with Outfit, and that was it for me. My Honeymoon Boulevard moment, Outfit. It's just so perfect. I love it. It's amazing. Make a new friend today. I'm just going to copy this text, paste it, because everyone knows I'm lazy. I'm not even defending myself now. This feels like one-sided comedy, you guys. But I just really committed, okay? You can't say something bad about me in that sense. Roboto italic, reduce the font size. This was my honest Honeymoon Boulevard moment, because I went from Roboto to Outfit in the matter of a single UI. Such a transformative moment for my career. It's stuck with me ever since. This was really old as a UI as well. With that said, this is actually the same exact button that I'm using in my site for veerashrivastava.com. If you go over here, join that right now. I'm just going to copy and paste this once again, and I'm going to type out start. With that said, you guys, can you share with me your perfect font, your favorite font? Because I've just ranted on for minutes literally about my favorite font, and I now want to know yours. Please, can you just share your favorite font? I would appreciate it, please. All right, now we're going to select deep pink, the brightest shade from the brightest UI, Honeymoon Boulevard, my favorite color palette. I love it so much. Why? I just like it. Okay, this just feels like I'm just too excited about UI UX design, and the truth is I am. This is why you will see me come here live every single day, 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 3:30 p.m. GMT. And then we added a little bit of padding to the top and bottom. Look at that, we have our perfect font. With that said, let's align this perfectly to the center. We're going to make this thicker, obviously. Align it perfectly in the center, and now we have this exact button is the button that I use for call to action on my site veerashrivastava.com, where I'm sharing the group of these perfect 50 color palettes, and there's a bonus 5 for Easter eggs. I don't know if you heard that. There is an extra 5 for Easter eggs. You can find them in the third page of the free color palette file that is available in our site. Can you just go ahead and sign up? Can you please just go ahead and sign up? It would be amazing. All right, let's add a little bit of padding over here. Let's align this perfectly in the center. Align this over here to the left. And wow, this honestly looks weird and fun because I didn't think about increasing the button font size. This is what weirdly messy of me. All right, with that done, let's just align this perfectly in the center. You know what? I'm struggling with the font size a little bit right now, which is weird considering I shouldn't be struggling with anything at all, especially in this UI. The next thing we're going to do is, get ready for it, we are going to get 4 different dog images with these categories and everything. So while we're starting with this, I want to talk about the recently new puppies that I just discovered. So I discovered 11 new puppies in my neighborhood, and it's the best thing that has happened to me, including every single great achievement career-wise and every other way. So this is such a great moment. Would you like to know the names of those puppies if you are as passionate about the little dog babies as I am? I know it sounds weird, but it's just the truth. Does anyone want to know? Because I'll share them. I will share them. I promise you I will share them. I'm not going to gatekeep anything at all today. This is amazing. Changing the font color, changing the color to white. The girl says, I love Lato. Poppins 2 is such a sweet font. Lato because it's elegant and somewhat minimal. Lato and Poppins, obviously the greatest fonts to have happened to us. With that said, you guys, we are super duper close to 900 subscribers. I'm going to be brokenhearted if we don't do 900 subscribers today. Honeymoon Boulevard is the font color palette has Honeymoon Boulevard. This is the season of love. Make sure to send me some love. Send your subscribe button. Click. Wow, I really can't advertise, can I? This is weird. All right, we're going to get the settings icon, the location icon, the search icon, and the bell icon. Let's go over to the bottom and get all of these icons from Iconify. Let's search for settings. Wow, everything is sliding off. This is amazing. Settings. Wow, I can't search for anything now. Settings. Get for ourselves a really nice looking settings icon. What other icons do we want? We also want the location icon. Let's just go ahead and get that. Does anyone want to know the names of the puppies that I'm talking about? Does anyone? Please just say yes, because I will tell you those anyways, even if you say no. So it's just, might as well show the world that you're supportive, might as well, because I'm going to spill all the names, and I'm also going to spill the names that are weird and just weird. Search. There is a little bit of a delay with the stream today, which is why I'm not receiving many comments in real time. Apologize for that a little bit, but if you stick around long enough, we will chat in the live stream. This is amazing. Wow, does really no one want to know the names of the cute little puppies I found? 12 of them, and I will post shorts with all of them. So come on guys, you're disappointing me now. I will before this stream ends today, I will tell you the names of the puppies regardless of whether you want to know or not. So just latch on to your seat belts, because subtracting the selection. Wow, we were supposed to exclude the selection Inside of that exclude, we're adding this ellipse and creating our perfect icons. So we're just going to select all of these, bring them down in size, change their color to a color from our favorite color palette, Honeymoon Boulevard, add them to the top, and just center them perfectly. So we're just going to select them all at once, reduce the font size. Does anyone want to know the names of the cute puppies I found? I've only named 5 and I found 12, so I've already done the world a favor. I just feel like begging at this point. Like UI UX design, if I ask any of you guys on the channel if you want to know anything about UI UX design, everyone's so happy and so excited, and now I'm feeling rejected. Wow. How weird is this? Alright, with that said, we are changing the colors of our logos to a color from the top, from one of the awesome shades of our favorite color palette, Honeymoon Boulevard, available completely for free, along with its 49 brothers and sisters on our amazing blanket site, veerashrivastava.com. I'm not entirely sure what a blanket site is, but I just said it, so I'm just committed to that. With that said, we're going to put down the location of our UIs. The girl says, tell us. Okay, hold on. Let me just put down my location. Belgrade, Serbia. The girl says, tell us. Atul Kumar says, I don't know about puppies. Well, you will know about puppies. Hold on to your hats. So I found 12, and I'm talking about them as I'm designing right now. I found 12. I've only managed to name 5 until now because all of the others have their own personalities, and I'll get into those in a little bit. But here are the list of names. Number 1, Floofy, because as you guessed it from the name, he is indeed very floofy. Number 2, Favorite. I know this is such a cliche and weird name, but he was my favorite in the beginning, and then Floofy became my favorite. But I still named him Floofy, and I still named one Floofy and the other favorite, and it seems unfair to just remove that right now, so I'm just sticking with it. Number 3, Toulouse. It is taken from the name of the French city Toulouse, but it's also taking from the name of Ariana Grande's dog Toulouse, which I liked for some reason. I thought this was a nice dog name, and since I don't own a dog, I thought, why not? Let's add that name to a random puppy that we found on the street. The fourth one, this could be a challenge. Name all the puppies while designing UIs. Before I name the fourth one, I need to talk about the background color for this. So obviously the background needs to be lifted up by a little bit. Sometimes, rather than going ahead and choosing different colors, messing up your UI with 8 different colors, it's always a wise choice to get a couple of colors from over here, reduce their opacity, and you'll honestly end up with a really, really nice looking shade. So that's just a hidden strategy. With that said, we're going to add the word categories over here. So just its plain outfit, and then we're going to increase the font size here. Type out the word categories. The fourth puppy that I was talking about, obviously, is Lilo, because you guessed it, he usually lies low. Like, he'll just eat and then he'll sleep. He has no will in his heart to talk or meet or just play around, so that's quite disappointing. But you know what, we've got other ones which are great, which is why Lilo is Lilo. And then lastly, this one is more and more fun the more I talk about him. The next one is called the dark one, because his intentions seem very, very dark, and I know half the people who are interested in puppies will ask me why I accuse dogs of being dark creatures, especially puppies. Let me just make this horribly clear to you. He always and every single time wants to bite humans. Like he'll just come around and say, hi, I want to play with you. And then as soon as you say, hello puppy, do you want to play with me? He'll just bite you. Like that. Just in the drop of a hat. And the real issue that comes up with that is whether you have a dangerous, angry dog biting you. I'm adding an auto layout, by the way. Or whether you have a little cute puppy biting you. In either of those cases, you are still going to end up with the same number of rabies shots, which is exactly why I have made it my personal life's mission to stay the hell away from him. And yet, when he sees anyone playing with any other puppy, he is the most weirdly jealous fella on the whole wide planet. With that said, let's also now add a couple of animal images. I am loving the way I can just balance talking about street pet animals, and also UI design. This is my hidden talent now. This is so awesome. Wow, everything is sliding up and down. All right, let's search for a cat. Where do we find a cat? All right, let's just get this UI in, and then I want to talk about getting the perfect icon. Since we're using 5 different icons and they'll basically be visible around each other, it would be nice to, let's just degroup this to a group instead of a frame, just so it's easier to work with it right now. It would be better to use the same exact font, icon variation, just so all the icons look similar to each other. So we're using a fluent icons for this one, and then we're going to get icon set of fluent icons. Where was a fluent icon? Fluent UI icons, right? And then we're going to search for dog inside of this icon set. Wow, puppy, nope. Let's search for puppies. Wow, this is weird. Can we search for dog? I certainly hope that we can. We can't, so we'll just get fluent icons over here. Let's get fluent emoji flat, fluent UI. Why can't I find? Here we have it. These are the dogs that are available to us. I do have my doubts on this one. I'm just going to search for all of the other ones. Let's just search for dog anyways, just so we have the perfect icon. Speaking of which, you guys, as I was talking about the dark one, that is a little puppy that will just bite you out all of a sudden. So we just try to stay away from him, but he will not leave anyone alone. He is most prone to jealousy, whines all the time, and I know I'm just complaining with a lot of entitlement right now, but it's a couple of weeks old and it already knows how to whine and bite and have all the dark traits that God didn't give the other cute little guys. It's so weird. Speaking of the top 5 that I just talked about, I also want to bring everyone's attention to the other 6 puppies that I also found, 5 of which are black and really small. And so we're having a ton of fun with them, but they really don't understand anything right now, which is honestly quite irritating when you just go over to them every day and then they're just in their own world right now. I will name them soon, I promise you that, and then I'll take up a whole lot of your headspace in another live stream someday. But before I end the whole puppy chat, I also want to talk about the surprise 11th one we found, which was a little brown puppy. So the first 5 were white, the next 5 were black, and then the last one that I found was actually a weird bonus one, and he was the child of a dog that looked like a fox, so he might be half fox. Don't be surprised if the doctors tell us that he was half fox all along. And then he was weirdly shy, and then everyone that was around him told us that he would bite, so we didn't go anywhere near him. But we're adding a lizard to this collection, which freaks me out, but I'm still doing it for the sake of UIs, so thank me for that later. What lizard should I add? I feel like I should add this one, but this is even more freaky. All lizards freak me out, to be honest. I'm just going to change the colors on this one. This is so gross. This is honestly so gross. I can't stand lizards, and yet I will take up hours upon hours to eat the minds of random strangers on the internet who were hopelessly on this channel just to learn about UI design, to talk to them in great unending details about cute little puppies, as one should. Alright, and then we're going to change the color of the eyes because I don't like her, but I'm just committed to the whole UI design plan. Let's go back to the whole UI design, and now we're going to add a little bit of depth to this UI in itself. So to add depth, you're going to add an inner shadow that goes out from the bottom, goes towards the top. Let's add an inner shadow and then shift it above on the opposite side. So we're going to shift it above from minus of the y-axis, and that's just going to be really nice and blurred and just look really pretty. We're going to reduce the spread amount, and this is also in the minus now, and it looks really nice. So with that done, we now have all of our categories and all of everything ready with us. With that done, let's now add all of these images, all of these cards. So awesome. All right, so the first step to creating a card is to go down to the bottom and drag this out and just create a simple card. It's just that simple. The next thing you need to do is go over to the bottom, go and search for Unsplash, search for dogs, because why not? If I had the images of the cute little puppies that I'm talking about, I would add them to this frame, but I don't. So I'm just committed to my plan for now. committed to this for now, but I guarantee you will hear about them from me more and more in the coming videos as I become more and more obsessed and lose my sanity bit by bit. But don't worry, I will always remember UI UX design, so that's a constant always. Let's also search for dog pink, because this is the great thing with Unsplash. You can search for the exact color of thing that you want to search for, and it'll give you the perfect results. So you can just find the exact results that I'm using as the ones that you have. The next things that we're working with is this and this guy. So we're just searching for them across Unsplash. Check it out. We already found one. This is awesome. If you guys want access to all 55 color palettes for free, just go to the link in the live chat and description. The girl asks if I normally use a grid. This is just a simple group of images. This isn't even a grid at all. I don't think this is a grid, but I will use a grid when I need to. I don't think I use the background layout grid, if that's what you mean. All right, we have the group of images ready with us. Check it out, you guys. Did anyone download the free 55 color palettes? Normally asked, when will you showcase that secret whiteboard tool like Excalibur? It's coming up in one of the videos. It is coming up, Rhythm, in one of the videos. So just keep out an eye for that. All right, we're going to create a simple card now, and this is just going to be rounded off completely. Let's make sure the text supersedes the image itself. So we're going to crop this image firstly into the shape of a perfect square. To do that, we're going to have to crop this out into the shape of a perfect square, as I said so. And then we're going to add a perfect rectangle. And so the first thing that we're going to do over here is add a border radius, and then this rectangle is going to go over to the background, and it's going to be in the font color white, just very, very plain stuff. And since this is in the background, it's always going to be in the background. Wow, I'm just repeating myself 10 different times, aren't I? This is so weird. Since it's going to be in the background, it's also going to be in the background. I hope you learned something new, because it's going to be in the background. This is awesome, and I can't speak while designing, and yet these live streams force me to. I hope you're happy, YouTube. I hope you're happy. With that done, let's change this color to white. Let's do it. I hope my weird humor makes sense, because if it doesn't, at the end of this stream, I'm going to see a really low view count, and then I'm going to be sad. And so you don't want to spoil the beautiful festival that is Holi, for which I got my face painted with low number of views. With that said, we also have this much distance left between us and 900 views. What are you waiting for? Subscribe. Make your friends subscribe. If they don't do it, just do it for them. It's Holi. You have to. You have to. You don't really have a choice. You don't. No one does. We're going to type out the word Milky, because that's the name that we've chosen for this one, and we're going to be really, really committed to that. We're going to change the font size, reduce it, and we're going to add a number here as well, which is going to be in subscripts. So, wow, I have not looked at the chat at all during this weird period. The chat says, I know, but I'll watch the video, or maybe I don't know. Who knows? This sounds weirdly confusing. Chat, get yourself together. Do it. All right, now we're going to change the number to say 2. So let's reduce the font size a little bit. If you guys just get this from the site, I promise you so many awesome things are coming up on this channel and on this website, especially now that we have a dedicated website of our own. This is just going to be so super duper awesome. You're going to find the perfect 50 color palettes that are going to take over 2025 this coming year, that only pro designers use. They don't exactly inform you about. And also there is a secret 5 Easter eggs that I do want to hear your thoughts about. So that's also here on the table. I was talking about our color palettes. So the point over here was, we are trying to maximize our use of the dark black that we have in our color palette Honeymoon Boulevard instead of a plain black. So I'm just going to be really committed to that. Change the names, change the color of the name to the purple shade that we've been working with. Can all of you who've already downloaded the color palettes type D in the chat? That would be awesome, please. With that done, let's also add the breed of our perfect dog. As I'm writing this, I'm realizing how much I want a Samoyed, and as I'm talking about that, I'm realizing this is the perfect point to tell you. Roboto used to be my favorite font, and then I found Outfit while I was building this UI many, many years ago. So this is the perfect honeymoon boulevard story for me. Actually, it's more of a Roboto breakup boulevard. And then I found Outfit Boulevard, and then I basically cheated on my favorite font. Wow. Look at that. That went downhill really, really fast. That's so weird. All right. The next thing that we're doing is reducing this, bringing this guy down. I will get to the comments. Just send me some good comments, you guys. Come on. That's important as well. All right, let's just bring this down over here. And we're going to copy the text because I can't type it. You know I can't type it. I am serious, and you know I can't type it, so I'm not going to. Because I've gotten enough disappointment and embarrassment from these series of live streams. Do not be deluded and to think that I will embarrass myself more by going into great depths typing stuff out that honestly we'd all be better off if I didn't type. So I just hope you caught that whole font design thing that I just did. It was pretty cool, I know. It's weird to gossip while designing stuff, which is why I don't gossip. Anuj says, how did you make that picture curve? Anuj, I will explain that in the next image. Just stick around for a hot minute. Just stick around for 1 minute. Come on, stick around for a minute. I know you can, Anuj. Be my guy. Stick around for 1 little minute. I will explain that whole thing once again. I promise. Stick around. I'm talking to you, Anuj. Okay, now I'm demented. This is already the point when I'm getting demented now. All right, we were searching for the location icon. Let's search for the location icon. Sometimes the live chat refreshes itself, and then I look down, and then nothing happens, and then I think about my life's choices and how I question them. Wow, that was deep. Piro is apparently the city that this is placed in, and then we're also putting the distance icon, so we're searching for that as well. I love UI design so much. This is awesome. This is so awesome. My dream job. Just the dream entirely. Wow, this is awesome. How many of you downloaded these color palettes, you guys? How many of you did it? It is completely free. What are you doing? Don't miss out. Don't be an idiot. Like no one will be that on your face to you, but I am. Firstly, because I am heavily dehydrated, but also because I am a person who genuinely cares about your UI design career. So, did you or did you not? Let's reduce the font size once again. How is it possible that I can't reduce the font size? Let's reduce it over here and make it smaller as well. And then we're going to change this to say 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. Wow. I heard myself scream that time. I did not know why I screamed, but I'm sorry for that weird ear-crushing, soul-crushing voice. Roboto once again. It hurts my heart so much to know that I used to love Roboto, and then I just saw Roboto and Outfit contrasted on this exact UI, and then you know the tale of why I cheated on Roboto with Outfit. Wow, that sounds so terrible, and yet it's the story of how I met my dream font. It's Outfit, and it's perfect, and I love it so much, and it's the only font that I downloaded right off the bat when I changed my laptop, which was a couple of months ago, which is awesome. Let's get this call to action button. I feel like this is a really weird call to action button of a service dog. I feel like we need to have like a buy now kind of thing, which is what we're doing right now. Let's get ourselves an ellipse, make it smaller, and then add the perfect icon. And then obviously you know the color that I'm going to use for the call to action button. I'm going to go to the top of my favorite color palette in the whole wide world, Honeymoon Boulevard, and then get my favorite font. I did not think about the fact that this was the place, that this exact color palette was also the place when I changed my font preference from Roboto to Outfit and then renamed the whole thing Honeymoon Boulevard, which is hurting my soul, you guys. I'm bringing this up 3 different times in the same exact stream because it's hurting my soul. Wow, submit by, what do you use? Adopt? What's the sign for adopt? You can hear me spiraling now. You know what? Let's just get another dog sign. Can we get a paw sign and maybe just get done with it? I certainly hope we can. Let's get a paw sign and then let's have that be our call to action, because I'm really committed to the world of dogs, as you know. I am really, really committed. With that said, I have a couple of really, really cool shorts coming up. If you guys check out the shorts on this channel, the couple of shorts that are coming up next are just going to blow your mind, because they're going to feature, surprise, surprise, one of the 5 puppies. The only shorts that I've recorded until now are with the puppy called Favorite, who is my favorite, used to be until Floofy came around. And now, Anuj, I will answer your question. Hold on to your hats. This is incredible. Go to your image. Step 1. Step 2, crop your image out. So just double click on your image. Wow, how do you crop images? Just go to your image, change the fit to crop, and then just crop it down to a circle. That's step 2. Look at me carefully, Anuj. I'm talking to you. Why do I feel so intimidating doing this? Now we're going to add border radius, as the girl pointed out, and bring it up to 24. And then we're going to add a simple rectangle. So just make sure it is the exact same width and align it to hell. Then change the font, then change the border radius to 24. You know what? Just double click on the rectangle, select the both of these and change them to 0. Select the both of these at the bottom, change them to 24. And that's just going to do your job much, much simply for you. Right click, send it to back, change this color to white. And then you're going to add a drop shadow. Now, since we already added a drop shadow, these are the settings that we're working with: 0, 1, 4, 25%. And since I want to repeat this drop shadow over and over again, I'm just going to go over here, add a drop shadow, have it say card, because this is a drop shadow for a card. And then I'm going to change this to be card. Surprise, surprise, this is card. And now we need to make sure everything that we're working with is exactly the same, which is why we're just going to select this whole entire thing, copy it, and then bring it over here, paste it now. We're going to add it perfectly in the center. And this is the point for you guys. Give me the next dog name. I will accept it. You can give me your name or my name. I will not accept those, but I will take them into serious consideration while I style the rest of these. Give me your favorite dog names, or give me your dog's name, because I am heavily aligned to that motive. Let's just copy this, paste it over here, bring this right. I feel like we're just making a mistake with this. Since this is already a created component, we could just group this entirely, select the both of these, bring them out here, just group them together as well. Group this. Wow, what did I just do? I'm just going to select the whole thing and just group it together. Press these, copy and paste them once again. The girl says I'm stealing that drop shadow style, as you should. Anyone should steal it. And then don't tell me about it. No, I'm kidding. You can tell me. It's obviously up for steals. That's exactly why I'm making this video. I apologize if my jokes don't land. They have well-meaning intentions, and sometimes they do land, which is a great day for me. Jakey. It is the first name that we're working with. Jackie or Jakey. Wow, I'm not sure how many E's to add to that. Please keep sending me dog names, because we are going to need even more dog names while I search for the perfect image. Let's change the age, change this to Chihuahua. I hope that's a Chihuahua. If it isn't, that's pretty damn embarrassing. I'm going to change these images back up again. Just go over to this option and then go over to the bottom, get unsplash, and get pink dog. Look at me, I'm searching for pink dogs already. This is the point that my career is at. I'm searching for pink dogs. Let's go over here, select this guy and change. You know what, I'm also really passionate about balloon art. If no one knew, I'm just giving my whole personality an internet breakdown right now. I'm just giving the whole internet my personality breakdown right now. And so we're also going to add a pink balloon dog, because if you've seen me in the balloon art game, you are going to know that I'm just amazing at it. Look at me blowing my own trumpet. 1E. Wow. Jake has one name. Jake has one singular E. What other dog names do we add? I will take any dog names in the chat. While that happens, I will keep Milky as placeholder for all of these, so that all of you guys are hinted into giving your own dog names. Why do I feel so childish talking about dog names and balloon art? Maybe because that is quite childish. But here's the thing, internet. The person whom you're learning UI design from does not give a damn.
Let's now select all of these cards, add them over here. Just make sure everything is perfectly aligned. If you have extra space, that's nice. White space is always a blessing when it comes to UI UX design and getting all of your spacing right. Add a layout, add a layout. Just make sure there is like a perfect amount of spacing. Width and height need to hug contents. You know what? They don't need to. Like, if you could just make sure the spacing between all of them is perfect, that would be awesome. Wow. This is horrible news coming from the world of reading live chats. We've still got something to do, and I need to charge the phone where I'm reading it. The comments. Anuj, that is a really mean comment. I'm not even going to read it. We don't want to offend users. Please. All right, we're back again. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Guys, we are so close to hitting 900 subscribers. I will be personally heartbroken, as will all of these cute little dogs, if you don't get it to that level. Come on, you guys. Let's go to the number 900. Wow. It seems to be a weird voltage issue where I'm sitting at, because everything just keeps going up and down. Give me a moment to get things back on track, and here we go once again. Let's align stuff in the center, and you know what, you guys, these look fine. These look perfect. With that, we have the second frame for our UI ready. The next thing we're going to do, because I feel like I'm just really committed to doing the next thing every single time. Wow, how many UIs do we have left? Can I just count? Wow, we just have one more to go and then another one to go. So this one to go and then this one to go as well. So this is going to be awesome as a stream. I'm just really committed to this. The next thing we're going to do is duplicate these frames. So we're just going to take the exact same frame width and height, 427 and 806. Let's change this to be 427 and 806. And also we're going to add a border radius. Let's change this to 50, because who doesn't love the magical number 50? And we're also going to add a couple of cat images. Now, who wants to hear a cat story? Actually, I don't have a cat story because I've never really gotten to see many cats, and that might have to do with the fact that I'm really good friends with dogs who chase cats away, and then I can't make friends with cats. So that's another huge big flaw of mine. I know, it's a big deal breaker, especially on a UI design channel. Let's search for cat, pink. Let's hope we get a pink cat. Yes, we did. Congratulations to us. Look at us. We're achievers. We can find pink cat images when we need to online. Are my jokes making sense, or am I just talking to the wall? Can anyone just clarify that for me? Because I'm certainly hoping my jokes are like talking to a wall, especially because now there is an audience to hear it. And also watch me design UI designs. Alright, so we have cropped this image successfully. Let's copy and paste this. Wow, I messed that up entirely, didn't I? Copy and paste it up back here again, and we're sort of superseding each image, and that's the effect that we're going for today. Yes, I know my nails are black. It is Holi. I had a great Holi. Don't get jealous. Let's search for another cat image. This is the second cat image of the same exact cat. How wonderful is that? Anuj, please don't call each other dogs and cats, because the first dog and cat that I want to place on this is, you know what? I'm committed to my subscribers. The first dog that I want to rename is right here. Look at that, you guys. It's Anuj. And you know what? That's too big of an honor. Look at that, you guys. It's Anuj, and that's not even a real dog. It's a disrespectful, cheap, rubberized variation of one. That was disrespectful and out of line. I also love humor, which is why we have a dog by the name of Anuj, and it's not even a real dog. That's just me. Always. Alright, the next thing we're doing is adding a name, a description, and also an age. So let's add that. Let's do MELLISA. Let's increase the font size, you guys. Let's bring this up to A36. And we're going to change the age number to A6. I certainly hope that's not too old for a cat. If it is, I don't know what to do with it. I have never seen or dealt with a lot of cats. I have a friend who has, but people don't like her. So I don't like her either. No, I don't like her because she doesn't like me. This is getting really personal really quickly. Wow, Veera, get it back on track. All right, with that done, let's just align this perfectly. And now we're going to add American Bobtail, which is one of the only cat breeds I know. So this is not ChatGPT. This is the magic of my own head, if you can believe it. Did you know this UI was made in the pre-ChatGPT times? This UI, the first one, was made when ChatGPT did not exist. Look at me. I am a really old UI designer. Can you believe it? Let's throw me a birthday party. And on the cake, it'll be one word. Really old. Actually, that's 2 words. Wow. I'm so old, I've forgotten whether really old is 1 word or 2 word. Is that old or is that young? I'm not sure. Anyways, let's copy and paste this, bring this down once again, have the text change to love her a squeaky toy. Wow. I really didn't know how to write description text, did I? I really did write good description text. Let's change this to say Roboto. Anuj says, damn, I'm not entirely sure why. Is it because of the new dog toy or is it because of anything else? I really have no idea at this point. I'm just going to go with the flow. The level of delay that we have from this live and the time it takes to reach me, so the time it takes for me to say things and then for them to reach me back from the comments is excruciatingly long, and it could be fixed, but I just forgot to do that today. So blame me for all of the problems with this live stream, you guys. I am the one to be blamed. This is awesome. All right, with that, let's reduce the font size, and now we're going to add the button that says view images. Let's do that. I stopped making buttons that just say things and have a little icon anymore, but I feel like it was a vintage thing that was cool, and I had my era with it. I want you guys to have your era with it, so I'm just going to share with you the way to do it. So just bear with me on that. All right, we have the word view images now. We're going to change this to a bright shade of pink from our favorite color palette, Honeymoon Boulevard. I just came up with that name and I loved it so much, and I hope you do as well. It's my favorite color palette in the whole world. It's awesome. Let's bring this down to an 8, make this even thicker. Let's bring it to a extra bold, and then we're going to get for ourselves an icon. Let's go down to the bottom to Iconify and get an icon that says next. Wow, I did not play that out well, did I? Let's get an icon that is like a next and add it over here. For some reason, I have no idea why. I'm just committed to the whole plan and I'm going along with it wherever it takes me. All right, let's just zoom in, put it out here, change the color to pink, and then check it out. We have successfully created our first group. Let's group it all together, copy and paste it once again, and we're going to add a group. Wow, I just Dagal says, we need a UI challenge on the Discord, not because I want to win, just because it is going on. Our dark dashboard challenge is going on, and you can still submit all our entries. It's awesome, you guys. Just go ahead and submit a dark dashboard that you quickly made up, and its deadline is extended to 22 of March, I think, and just go ahead and submit a quick UI, just because. With that said, did you know we need to add 2 different icons over here? And with that said, where did the icons go? I feel like they just vanished somewhere. Where did the icons go? I just had the icons here. This is so freaky. I got them back. Congrats to me. I got the icons back. Let's copy and paste them once again. All right. So, did you know that the site that is veerashrivastava.com is going to be the hub for UI UX designers, where we can not only do UI UX design, just because this site is going to scale up in the next couple of weeks to be just much bigger than what it already is, and it's going to have some of the coolest things ever. So just today we worked on the backend of a quiz that is literally designed to tell you what font you would be if you were a font as a designer. So this is what ancient designer would you be if you were that, and these are just the perfect quizzes that I wanted to take, and it's just the perfect not only work time but also pastime for designers. So I just love the way it's coming along, and I would highly recommend you stick around, check out veerashrivastava.com from time to time, because it's just going to get more and more awesome as we go. let's have it say Belgrade, Serbia. And I just find it weird that we are typing over here less than a mile away. Now, mind you, I was writing this text a really long time ago, but I do want to point out less than a mile away sounds like a Tinder profile. It does. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Less than a mile away sounds like a Tinder profile than a mile away. Which I know I designed the UI and it's not giving me better points in terms of a great UX designer, but I'm just going to say it because this is one of my favorite UIs that I did a really long time ago. I wanted to bring them on the channel, but less than a mile away next to a cat's image is really inappropriate, especially because in my head, and the weirdest thing is I haven't even been on Tinder. This is so weird. This is so weird. So weird. All right, this is a description that I wrote by myself because ChatGPT didn't exist when I wrote this description. And you can tell I loved Roboto, especially italicized Roboto, so much because I wrote the whole entire description in Roboto. If I'd done it now, this whole thing would be an outfit. So we're going to contrast the stuff that I did with the stuff that I do now. I you know what? Let's just go ahead and do Roboto italics because it's the reminder of an era. Let's just type some text over here, paste the text and match style, the stuff that we've already pasted over here. We're going to make this smaller. We're going to make sure everything is aligned in the center. I feel like a left alignment would be even better, which is like, why not? Change this font to be sentence case, or you know what, let's just normalize it anyways. I want to know from the audience, is Roboto a better choice or is outfit a better choice? Because this is the stuff that I do now, which I feel like is much better with like the modern web design. This honestly looks so cool, you guys. Just check this out. This looks so good. But the stuff that I used to work with looked like this. So this was my pre-outfit era, if anyone was wondering. This was the font that I used to work with, and then this is what I cheated on with it. This is so weird. All right. You know what? I like this a little bit more, but I like this a little bit more. I'm still really committed to this. Let's just stick with outfit. So weird. The whole story of me and Roboto italics. And wait, what site was that? All right, this is ASCII site. I was worried about what hell I opened up now. With that said, let's get our start button back over here. Copy it for body text. Yes, exactly. For body text, outfit is my current choice, but I used to have the last choice be Roboto italics, and the reason I'm talking about this today is because this was the UI that I made, and I used Roboto italics with outfit, and I realized I loved outfit much more than I loved Roboto italics, and then it was me and outfit forever, and then we just didn't look back at Roboto italics from that day on. Like, this is so on the nose when our color palette is Honeymoon Boulevard. I just feel so weird saying it out loud, and I did not make this connection at all because the naming of these font families only came about recently. So these font families, these color palettes that I'm sharing with you today from the site are actually have been in development for the last 5 years, but after we compiled that list, which only happened recently, the naming is actually quite recent. So this is just so freaky. So freaky. Did anyone like the whole story of me and Roboto italics and outfit and that whole circle? Did anyone like it? Because I feel like I've just already talked about it 4 different times, and if no one liked it, then I'm genuinely horrified. So did anyone like it? Please say nice things, considering the fact that I have feelings, and I'll be really sad if no one likes it. Wow, this is awesome. All right. Now, the stuff that we're making is not really complicated because it's essentially a copy of this exact UI, except we're just changing our descriptions and our personas. So I wouldn't want you to be worried. Let's get this frame, copy and paste it once again, and change each of these dog images to cat images. I'm not really committed on changing the names, so let's just go over to Unsplash and change out these images. You can change the names and descriptions if you want to, but for the sake of this UI, we're going to have a cat named Samoyed, a cat named Milky, which is the breed of a Samoyed. So you're going to have to feast your eyes on that if it makes any sense at all. I feel like the Holi colors have really gotten to my head, and now I'm just acting crazy, which is on brand for me. So leave me congratulations in the comments. The Holi colors finally went to my head. This is amazing. Come on, you guys. The whole color palettes group is available to download completely for free in the veerashrivastava.com site, available in the live chat and description. Download it super duper quickly because they only remain free for a set period of time, after which we have plans cooking up. But also, go sign up to veerashrivastava.com. There is so much fun stuff that's just happening for everyone, and it's just going to be awesome. It's truly going to be awesome because we have so much fun stuff coming up, including which font family would you be if you were a font family instead of a designer, which I promise you don't want to miss out on. It's just awesome. All right, you just don't want to miss out on that. Dougal says, I feel bad for Roboto. Oh my god. Now the infidelity has come into light. I used to like Roboto, and then this whole story came into light. This is the day of disrespect and shame upon my clan. This is the day. Janus Thomachan says, Congrat. I want to say thank you, but I don't know what I'm thanking you for. So could you please expand on that, Janus? All right, you guys, we have gotten ourselves into 4 different frames, which was so hard to make, but we made it with my favorite color palette in the whole 50 color palettes that are available today, completely for free in the website link in the live chat and description, completely for free. So just go sign up. And also we have 5 cute Easter eggs. Don't miss them at all. My favorite color palette of all, of course, everyone knows now, is Honeymoon Boulevard, and we have also designed this awesome UI. The only thing we need to do now is, in order to put this in an actual case study, because as you can tell, this is an app that's made for a case study, we need to create a frame that will hold all of them at once. So we're just going to go ahead and create a frame that's like 1080 by 1080 pixels, and then I'm going to show you something super duper cool. So let's just get our first frame inside of here. And also, we're going to get our second frame inside of here. Who saw that coming? This is a complete shocker, Veera. I thought the third frame was going to come inside with the first one. That's a joke. All right, we'll add the card effect again. Can we? No, I think we should add a different drop shadow, just because this is in a different positioning. We're going to reduce the y-axis values to 0 and add a blur, add a spread, add whatever we need to add. Once that is done, we have a really, really pretty looking UI. And now this card is the stuff that we're going to share with whoever sees our UI. Once we've added a drop shadow, which we already have, I just want to take a moment before I do it for the second one as well. I just want to take a moment to talk about, I just want to take a moment to talk about how you can use any color other than white practically to end up with really pretty looking cards for your case studies and for your UI designs. So I'm just going to select both of these, bring them down over here, select the both of these, and since we don't need white, you could use white, but it's not recommended highly, coming from experience. But since we are working with a specific color palette, any of these colors honestly could work really well in the background of our card. And as I'm saying this, I am realizing some of them might be poorer choices than others. So I'm just going to keep white because let's have a visual comparison of everything. Check it out, you guys. All of these are good choices. Of course, most people would prefer this one or maybe even this one for this use case, just because of the colors that we've been using. But once you are committed to the color palette and the stuff that you're building, I feel like this is a really, really good indicator on how you can use any one of these that you like, any color from the color palette, without worrying about hex codes and weird color RGB combinations, to just post them on your portfolio. Jenna says, congratulate me on the chat, and that's why he congratulated me. I might have done that. Fun fact, when I rant like a crazy person on these UI design streams, I don't really have a good memory, and I sincerely apologize for that. I'm so sorry, Janus, and I'm so sorry, live chat watchers, but the truth of the matter is, I might have said it. Thank you so much for following along. The chat has a weird timing gap today, which is honestly what's getting in the middle of our communication. Let me change this to say show, because this is the shadow for show. Let's just get rid of these. But today's UI live stream has a little bit of a delay from when the people type it to when I say things, which is what makes it super duper difficult for me to communicate, but also the fact that I forget what I talk about like in 15 seconds, which is what makes me a weird person. A weird person who's been streaming for like over 2 hours. Wow. We are so close to 900 subscribers, you guys. Can we just get to 900, please? Can we just please do that? Because, come on, I am dehydrated and live streaming. Come on, just subscribe. Like, this is awesome. I still am looking at the chat, and my mind is still going to the exact message with Janus when he congratulated me, and I forgot about what I asked for congratulations for. This is so weird, and I am personally embarrassed. With that done, we have our 4th UI ready. We only have one single UI to go because we were taking our top 5 color palettes today and designing UIs from over here. The entire list is available completely for free from veerashrivastava.com. Sign up now. Link in live chat and description. And since I've said it with such grace and such power and such authority, I sincerely hope that you do. For this Instagram post, you can also use the shade FFDDDD for the background. It also works really, really well if you want to. The last one is really, really cute. And in fact, it is so cute. It has cute in its name. Cute Vikings is the font family that we're using today. It's present right here in case you want to find it from your group as well. So this is Cute Vikings. Right here in the middle, in the second last row, we're going to copy this. Gina says, keep it up, get 1 million. Thank you so much. That is so, so nice. Thank you so much. I'm also hoping for the day when we hit 1 million. I swear to you, all of you, I will throw you a party. Like, I will throw every single one of you who stuck around for the longest time a party when we hit that number, because we've been pushing so hard on this channel and it would be such a dream to get there. With that said, let's talk about the last UI that we're building. I truly believe we have saved the best for the last because we're designing Cute Vikings. I know my camera is really weird today because the first camera broke within the hour of streaming. I'm worried about how I'm going to get it fixed today, but we are committed to our plan and we're still going. This is the UI that we're designing today, and when you look at the mood board of everything we were planning to do today, which we've already accomplished, you can clearly see that this is the most tricky, technically complicated one, which I am super duper happy about because that means we will get to do it together. And can you guys really hold on for a second because I need to drink water. You don't want to see me faint on stream. That would be even more horrible. I have been streaming for a really long time. I have feelings, okay? And dehydration. After that unbelievably, excruciatingly long break, we are back again. Sadman Al Nafis says, I must say you have great dedication. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Get your free color palettes because that's the greatest gift I can give you today. And consider it a gift of my dedication. If that's what I'm talking about. I really don't remember what I'm saying anymore. This is exactly what happens when you are screaming into a screen for 2 hours a day and I don't remember what I'm talking about that much. Forgive my low memory. This is what computers with low RAM must feel like. Wow, so weird. This is the UI we're designing right now. The most trickiest, complicated ones that you see on Instagram, the ones that truly make you jealous. But we're going to break it down and we're going to break it down simply. So, let's go. By the way, if you guys want all of these images, just let me know in the comments for this video and I'll upload all of these images to our site veerashrivastava.com as well. So, with that said, let's go back. I think we pasted this guy in the wrong file. This is the file where we're saving things at. This is the stuff that we're going to be designing. Go to your color palettes, grab Cute Vikings, paste it over here, and now let's go ahead and design our UI. This is going to be the simple MacBook Pro 14 screen. Let's just go ahead and get our MacBook Pro 14 screen from our frames. Don't ask me why, just do it because I told you, because if you don't, it's not going to be good consequences. And now we're going to design a logo. We haven't done it all day. I am a little bit scared because I don't design logos a lot, but that is the job and I am committed to the job. Wow, amazing. Let's reduce this circle to a smaller font size now. Please subscribe. It would be amazing to reach 900 subscribers today because we've been working on this for so long, you guys. Come on, let's hit 900. It'll be awesome. Let's just change wow, I can't work with a simple pen tool today because this is a pencil tool I've selected. Horrible, Veera. Horrible. Let's just create a simple curve. Add this over here. I know this is a white curve, which is why no one can see anything. Weird for a tutorial, but since we have a curve, we're going to make it rounded off right here like a weird Q. Apparently that is the logo of the brand we're working for. Let's now change the color to be teal, which is our most highlighted shade from the font family Cute Vikings. Let's go over here, grab our shade of teal. You can just go ahead and grab your teal from the eyedropper tool as well. Let's change the strokes color to the teal as well. Let's select this over here. And now we're going to change the width to 6 because that is the number we're working with. And then we're going to change this to say Petunia Chen. We're working with our favorite font, not exactly our favorite, but a font, Playfair Display. Petunia Chen. Playfair Display. Playfair Display. Here we go. Let's reduce the font size. You know what? Let's bring this up. 36 is the font size that we're using. And now what we're going to do is work with the shade of black that has been given to us because this is the perfect color palette. Even if you don't use the direct black, you'll get better results automatically just because purple and green are secondary colors that always work really, really well together. And that's just the continuous fact that has always been across the world. And now I want to talk about images. Images are the part of this UI that really confuse a lot of people. This is the actual UI that we're building right now. Let's get a couple of images really, really straight. So this is the image on the side. Let's copy it. I'll upload it to the website if you guys just ask for it in the comments of this video. And this is our simple image. We're just going to place this so the height of the image is equal to the height of the frame. The second image that we're working with is actually a square image, which we've just used for the pattern. So there is a whole pattern over here, but we've only added the pattern for the bottom just so we want to have a square area where we're placing our actual text. So just have a little bit of a square area left. And then we're going to add a little bit of text over here as well. So Crystal Tech and Frills Foundation are the two different categories that we want to talk about, which is why we'll add a little bit of text, which is in the font family Outfit, extra bold, font size 96 pixels. Let's just get that done. All right, let's just say Crystal. Don't worry if it's not capitalized, we'll work on it. Tech. Change the font family to be a really, really big capitalized version. Change the font family to say Outfit. Increase the font size to be 96 and bring this to the next line. All right, with that done, let's also reduce the line height to 111 because that is the sweet spot for us. You can go up and down by a couple of pixels, but ultimately that's the number you're going to stick with. And we're going to hopelessly and freakishly remove all margin from this corner just so we can have the watermark effect that we're going for. This is a special effect, and sometimes you need to just get this text a little bit out of the screen just so you can get the things to work. All right, and now we're going to talk about the second one, which is a Frills Foundation. We're going to type out the word Frills Foundation here as well. Change this to be extra bold. Change this to be extra bold as well. And then we're going to use this really, really light watermark shade of purple, which is the second color in the Cute Vikings combination. So we've been working with white already used purple in our logo. We're also using this for the watermark, this for the text of the brand. And this is the last color that we will work with, I promise you. The next thing we're going to do is, are we working with this color or am I just deluded? I have no idea actually. We'll find out. So just find out with me because I am a curious monkey who loves to explore things, and that has been a huge level of promotion coming from a person who loved puppies to becoming a monkey myself. All right, with that done, with that very respectful sentence spoken for myself, I will now select these images. So these are just two simple images that we're just going to place over here. Nothing complicated about them at all. This is just a group of two images. This is one image that we've placed here, and then this is the background for that image. And this is purely for aesthetic purposes, because of course the goal for this UI is to just make it stand out, and that's it. All right, the next thing we're going to do is add this image. Frills foundation makes entire sense, and just going to add this image over here. Nothing complicated about this at all either. The next thing we're going to do is add the word illustrations. So we're going to go over to our UI, type out the word illustrations. Wow, I really forgot how to type, didn't I? And change the font family to say Playfair Display. Reduce the italicize, you know what, italicize the whole thing, and also capitalize our sentence. You can also underline the whole thing if you want to. Change the whole thickness to a medium. You know what, we're going to create a custom underline for this one, which is even more fun. Let's align this perfectly in the center, and then we're going to go over to our pencil tool. This is a job for the pencil tool. Do not use the pen tool for this one. Let's just do this for now, and then select this UI, change this to a deep shade of purple, which we have been working with in this UI. Let's change this to a deep shade of purple, so deep the oceans drown in it, that deep. Let's reduce this to a 40, reduce the font size back again. Hello viewers, welcome back. We are designing 5 amazing UIs from the 50 best color palettes in the world right now, available for free on my site veerasrivastava.com, and you can also find 5 Easter egg color palettes. Do not miss them. Also, we're super duper close to 900 subscribers. I will be mad personally if you don't subscribe, so go ahead, do it. All right, with that done, let's also reduce the size for this, guys, just so we have it taking up less space. Reduce the line height just to make things look nice and easy. And now we're going to add 3 different links. About, services, pricing. About, services, and pricing are 3 different links that would honestly not work on this background at all because of contrast issues, but we've made them work by adding this drop shadow. So check it out. Not readable versus readable. That's exactly the difference. Not readable, especially from a distance. If you look at this from a distance, this is not readable, and this is readable. So this is really clear. This isn't as clear, and it becomes clear when you add a drop shadow. These are just very subtle effects that no one talks about, but pro designers use them with silence. All right, let's add 3 different links. About, services, pricing. Copy and paste them back here again, and we're going to type out about, services, and pricing. Do not make them italicized. That's the rule. Let's bring this up to a medium and change this to say about. Copy and paste it once again. Say services, and then also say pricing, because we need to say pricing. Pricing. Let's change the color for the font to a pure shade of white, because we are committed to that. And then add a drop shadow. This drop shadow is in its substance really blurry. Thomas says, do you create your own assets or use them from other sites? I do a mix of both, but we have a video coming on this channel talking about assets and how I make them. And also, all of the assets from now on for all of these UIs will be available entirely for free on my website, veerasrivastava.com. Sign up now and receive all of the updates directly in your inbox. I know I sound really weird, but this whole face is really forced right now, which happens when you have played the Indian festival of Holi and then speak on a live stream for a really long time. I can feel myself weirdly stretching my face right now. This is so weird. This is so insanely weird. Anyways, the whole point was to have the position for this be 0 on the x-axis, because we don't want it to shift this ways. Have there be a certain number, for example 4 or even 6 in the y-axis, because we want there to be a little bit of heft at the bottom, and then we want to increase the blurriness, and we also want to increase the color, because if you have a color which is really, really high, for example, like black at 50% or more or less, a little bit less or a little bit more, from 40 to 60 basically, and then you have a number that you can really, really work with and make it thick and really, really visible and make the text pop out now. And then we're going to add an auto layout, make sure everything is perfectly aligned, have an equal amount of spacing, and I hope that works. So yes, it has worked. Congratulations to us. Let's cut a birthday cake on this happy occasion. And with that, we have all of these little links in the navigation bar ready with us. This actually looks like a really, really neat effect. Like if this was just a single section in and of itself, it would look genuinely incredible. The next and last thing we're doing for this UI in itself is the word trending hits. If you look at the first UI that we did on this whole video, was it the first UI? I believe it was. I'm going to show you that we just did this exact same effect in the first exact UI, but I'm also going to do it in number 5 because I am a really kind-hearted person who does not shy away from hard work. As I'm saying this, I'm cringing horribly because I'm exhausted. All right, this is the circle that we're working with. This is a temporary circle. We will get rid of it as soon as we have to. The font that we're using for this is obviously Inter, and the font and the words that we're using are T. And make sure to separate each individual character, because if you don't, you're going to end up with problems. To do this exact effect, there is a plugin which is available in Figma. It's called Arc, but I would not recommend using it because if you're just a beginner, it has sort of strict limitations on the number of times you can use it before it becomes paid. And in my experience, for most beginners, it's really, really difficult to afford that for just a single feature, and it's just gets complicated as soon as you get logged in to the vendor. So I would not recommend doing that. I would just recommend learning your own simple way to make these guys and then just work with it, you know, because it's completely for free. It's just a strategy. Wow, I just managed to group that alphabet like a weirdo. Let's copy and paste this once again, change this to say trending, and now we're going to go back to Google, search for, let's just go ahead and search for the word ASCII point. And when you do that, you will be led to a site that is like this, and you're going to copy the character ASCII bullet. You're not going to add a full stop because full stops are at the bottom of the line. We want this character to be at the center of the line and also available with our text options, which is why we're using ASCII bullets. We're going to paste it here and match our style. Let's just go back, copy the character and go back and paste it here. And then we're going to do 5 more for HITS and then the point once again. So we're just doing 2 different points to separate our UI. Trending hits. Trending ding. Wow, this is funny. Trending hits. Because, and I'm going to tell you why. We're using 2 different points just to separate the words clearly. Because in these arcs, it's really genuinely difficult to tell how to separate words. So let's just get that done. Before we do that, let's just change the font to Inter. Just select, press Shift and then select multiple text boxes at once, and then it's going to be really, really easy to switch them to Inter. Let's also add this over here and then start positioning them equally. So the first thing you're going to do is positioning them equally. Just bring them out here and position them almost equally. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be something. So let's just position them equally. Add H over here. Add the word I. And then add T. Surprise, surprise. Then add S. No one saw it coming other than me because I'm a goddamn genius. Wow. That was weird. And also sarcastic. I feel like I have to defend myself every time I say this. And now we're going to add our simple single point. With that done, we're going to rotate all of these automatically, and then that's pretty much going to be it. Just align them perfectly to the pixel and then start rotating each of these characters in a circle. So this is just the simplest thing you could do in the whole wide world. Just add them over here, align them perfectly in the center, just rotate them entirely. I feel like I rotated this in the wrong direction, but it's fine. Let's just add this over here, rotate it perfectly. doesn't even need to be weird at all. Just add this over here. Rotate it perfectly because you absolutely need to. And if you haven't yet subscribed, don't be a disappointment to yourself and your entire clan. Subscribe. We're so close to hitting 900, you guys. I'm just yapping now. Just so we can get to 900. Come on, subscribe. All right, with that done, we have successfully completed this circle. I want to talk about one last thing, which is creating arrows. I just found out the simplest way to create arrows in Figma. No, don't get your Iconify or your icon generator now. Don't get an icon or arrow copy or arrow SVG from anywhere. Just get this plain black. We'll change the color later on. That's not an issue right now. Create a single line, straight line. One of the ends has to be round. The other end has to be a triangular arrow or a line arrow. I recommend the line arrow, but if you increase the stroke size, you will see a bigger arrowhead. I personally go with number 3 all the time, but you can also try other numbers if you need to. And then we're going to lock this image. Firstly, just go ahead and lock this image because we don't want it moving around or getting grouped in the wrong group. And then we're going to go ahead and drag our cursor, select all of these at once because this is a difficult thing to create, group it together. And if you see a little bit too much or too less space, you can always adjust it manually. But at the end of the day, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. We have created successfully for ourselves an arrow with our complete UI design. So let me just align this group perfectly in the center because of course I am a person who is horribly fixated on getting all our pixels perfect. Look at that, we just did it. And now that we have done it, we are now going to present it. So sometimes when you're presenting things like these on your portfolio website, on your Dribbble, on your Behance, wherever you are, it is difficult for people to envision what this is going to look like, which is why it is a good idea to have a square in the background and just have this rectangle or our frame UI in the front of the screen. So the stuff that we're going to do now is add a square. I would want to get to the comments in a little while, but just add a square to the bottom just so we have this really nice presentable look. And even more than the presentable look, I feel like something that I've learned from personal experience is when you add a presentable square to this situation, you automatically start giving off more pro developer vibes than a normal designer with your exact experience, right? Because at some point when you look at this UI, this seems to be a much simplified version of this UI, right? Because this is just easier to look at. This is the exact same thing presented in a professional manner so that it makes you look a little bit better or on a higher scale than where you are as a designer. Like it just gives you a level up, which is why I do recommend making these frames. The way to do them is just very simple. Get the higher number from your width or height and then increase it a little bit more. So we're just going to demonstrate that a little bit. And then with the exact same width or height, we're going to create a frame in the shape of a square. Janice says, or Janice, I'm not sure of the name, I'm super sorry for that. Bro, you are streaming for 2 hours talking and take rest. Not in a bad way, but for your health. Blur in background looks premium. Absolutely, blurry backgrounds look premium. That is a correct visualization, that is a correct observation, and it just helps if you're doing with that. It's just that simple. Blurry backgrounds are looking more premium. Firstly, if you're looking at my face, if you're not from India, let me just talk to you real quick. Janus, thank you so much for that compliment. Thank you so much for your concern. My face is weirdly pink today because the Indian festival Holi is all about celebrating with colors and water and all of that stuff. I have the greatest friends in the entire universe who managed to put weird prank based permanent color on my face, which is why this is not going away, which makes me look weird and sickly. To combat that issue, I added 2 streaks of blue, weird face paint. I don't even know why, before I started this stream, and now everything is smudged up and I do look weird and sickly. Do not be worried about me. I do this every single day, 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 3:30 p.m. GMT, depending on wherever you are. But I do know I look weird and pink and sickly. This is not my usual face or complexion. This is just too many pranks gone right. So, with that said, don't be sorry for me, be jealous of me. I have great friends. I know that sounded weird and bad and conceited. It's really not. I'm just going to get back to the UI. This is my alt ID. That's why it's named Janus. I don't know who you are and I don't know where you're from. Genius is also from India. That's wonderful. Let me just say this is a result of too many pranks gone right. Don't worry about it. The next thing we're going to do is create our frame. So let's create our frame in a size of 1720 because that seems to be the perfect size, and this is like the last thing we're getting done today, making this one of the most productive streams we've ever done on this channel. Let's just bring this perfectly into the center. One of the things that we need to do is adding a background drop shadow. The thing with today's UI is we need to add a drop shadow in the background, but also since the background that we're working with is premium and it's purple, we're going to add a darker shade of purple just so we can work with something that looks good with our entire flow. So let's just get the dark shade of purple. This is where we were using the dark shade of purple. So remember I told you in the beginning we had not used the dark shade of purple. Well, I've proven myself wrong once again. Let's use a dark shade of purple, remove this, add a blur, add a spread. In my defense, Janus, there is a whole bunch of people on this channel, about over 50%, who are watching from outside of India. So it makes sense for me to be sensitive of that fact. We're all right. We're both right in our own ways. We're going to reduce the opacity for this entirely, add a little bit of a blur. And look at this, you guys. We have created our entire UI, but we need to add the blurry images just so we look a little bit more premium than we actually are. In fact, we're actually quite smart and premium, but it is because we are smart and premium that we are going to do exactly the stuff that makes us look even more smart and premium. Get this guy out of our frame, increase the size. Wow, increase the size. I really do forget how to do things, don't I? Send this to the back, and now that it's looking a little bit bigger than it's supposed to, make sure this line, this is really important, pay attention over here, make sure this aligns perfectly with this guy. And now you can make this as big or as small as you want, but we're going to add the effect at the end of the day called layer blur, which is blurring the layer itself. So layer blur means I'm going to blur myself. If I'm applying this effect on this guy, it's going to blur this guy. If I told background blur, then it would blur the image in the background. But we're going to do layer blur for this one. Add a blurry amount. And with that, we are already going premium. Check it out. Get this to as close to 90 as you want, and it's going to be fine. All right, it can be a couple of pixels up and down and it does not matter. Let's bring, wow, I just copied that image in the same place twice. Let's copy and paste this image once again, bring it out of our frame and add it to frame number 2. Where is frame number 2? I've forgotten completely. All right, we have added it to our frame and we're just going to make sure we get an oversized sort of a group of the UI that we've already been working with. So I'm trying to make this smaller. Let's add this over here. Where did it go? It just got lost. This is weird. Where did you go? This reminds me of the weird song of Rednecks. Where did you come from? Where did you go, Cotton Eye Joe? It was hilarious. Whatever say the people, it was funny. We're going to align it perfectly and we're going to make sure that this is also perfectly aligned with this border and also the border at the top. Once that is done, we're going to add the effect that is layer blur. Change the amount to approximately 90. 89.6 works fine. But I feel like I would want to keep this on the lower end of 90, just maybe bring this down to 20s because honestly it looks a little bit better. And since there is a lot of stuff going on, it would honestly be better if we didn't do a lot of blurring in it, just have there be a little bit of complexity to the image itself. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is the UI we have made completely from scratch, only from the colors of the color palette Cute Vikings. We have made 5 different awesome complete portfolio projects. This is awesome in itself. The next one is even better in itself. The next one, prepare for it, is even better. The next one is also freaking amazing. And the next one that I'm talking about is an entire app from scratch. So my point today is this has been the perfect example of seeing how you can make entire apps, entire hero sections, entire websites, and entire advanced UIs for your portfolio from any color palette that you pick from our color palette guide, which is 50 different color palettes completely for free, and also 5 honest Easter eggs, which I've already shown once on this stream and I'm not going to show them again. This is for you to open and find out what's inside. Go ahead and join this completely for free. Like, these are some of the most awesome color palettes I've seen. I love the names as well. If you look at them very closely, there is a code that has to be revealed with the colored font names, so I'm not going to spoil that for you. Go ahead, discover it yourself. Sign up completely for free from our website veerashrivastava.com, and I will see you in the next one. Live link in the description and also the live chat. So go join us there. All of these are leading to amazing color palettes, and every single UI that you make from these color palettes, tag me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever. I will give a personal reaction to those, just because these are the most awesome color palettes, have been in development for over 5 years, and finally they're here. I'm so happy to introduce them to you and for you to introduce to them. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, good night. I'll be back again at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 3:30 p.m. GMT. Keep designing, keep having fun.